Wednesday morning here. We're going to open up really nice. Venom stinks. How is everybody doing? It is Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things. Yes, you see the title, and you see the review that we will be doing, and you're not going to just get one side of bashing, because there's somebody in this room that really liked the movie, so we'll be representing it on all sides at the 10:30 hour. So if
Good
you're coming
for you,
in
Macuga.
here, what
Likes
did you do?
the movie.
You know, he liked it. I don't think he saw it. He's the
He
only
really
one that
liked
didn't
it. He
see
was telling me.
The three people here have seen it, and we're going to be talking about that at the 10:30 hour. We also have a very special guest, Michael Ironside, the great Michael Ironside from Top Gun, Total Recall.
Total Recall.
He will be in
Starship Troopers.
See you at the party, Richter.
What's his Twitter handle, by the way?
That was the best. So before we went on, Roxy asked me what's his Twitter handle. I said Michael Ironside Gun 11 or something. And she
said
It's just Ironside Gun.
Ironside Gun.
It's not that.
And then I changed. I said, I'm just kidding. It's Ironside 55. And she's like, no, it's not. And we gave her like.
Well, I said no, it's not because I kept trying to type it in.
Right. And what
And it
happened?
wasn't popping up.
Oh.
And then a couple of times it did pop up, and definitely wasn't Michael Ironside.
Roxy's like Ron Burgundy reading the teleprompter.
It sucks.
He
It
won't
sucks.
believe anything that
It was
comes on
good.
that prompter.
You want to know what, though? It means I'm
Ron
a good
Burgundy?
person. I'm a really good person. I just
Yeah.
believe people.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Trust is a dangerous thing, Roxy.
Okay.
You know what I did yesterday?
What's that?
I watched an hour full of Sopranos kills.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What does that mean? Like a YouTube video of all the kills from Sopranos?
I love you so much. Pretty much. That's exactly what it was.
Because my favorite thing about her is that she doesn't like try to pretend she's not one of. You'll never get from Roxy like that fake thing that when you're telling people that person, they go, oh yeah. You ask Roxy, no, I don't know who that is.
Oh.
Or she'll be like, wait, stop, what?
Anytime
Wait, what's
Kimmel
Brett?
does those videos where he goes and he interviews people at Coachella and he's like, oh, are you excited for the band Dong Takes? And people are like, I love Dong Takes.
Yeah.
I'm like, why wouldn't you just say you don't know what it is? You
Right.
don't know what it is.
Right. Well,
Roxy on like the stage at a UCB doing improv. They're like, so in this suitcase is a dragon. Like, there's not a dragon in there.
There's no
Right.
dragon
There's
in your
no
suitcase.
dragon. So
Show me the
what
dragon.
What do you mean? Like, what's improv? But the what that means is all of the kills that ever happen in the show Sopranos, like all the deaths.
There's not
I
an
watched
hour worth of kills on that show.
It sure is.
Is there really?
Yeah, well, because it leads
God,
up.
yes.
It's not just like a quick cut of. It's like it leads up to the scene. The most brutal, the most brutal one is season. I think it was season 3.
Ralphie Cifaretto?
when he kills the girl.
Oh,
the stripper.
The stripper.
That one was
That's
hard to rewatch.
brutal.
Yeah, that was hard to watch again.
Ralphie Cifaretto, I think, in that show, might be the most villainous character in that show.
Him and Richie, they were
Yeah.
like the two
Richie
of them. But it's
Aprile.
like, because it was just like when they get that whole conversation about the horse, and he's like, "You took out that beautiful creature." I did not.
Yeah.
But if I did, so what?
Yeah.
It was like, such a great. And he's got 2 great lines. That one, and then the other one that I still quote to this day when he was obsessed with Gladiator.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, "There were no flat tops in ancient Rome," and he throws the thing down. But it's so good. When he was watching Spartacus,
So
it's so
good.
good.
Maybe I should rewatch. I don't remember so much
That
of
one
Sopranos.
I loved Sopranos, and
too.
it's one of those shows. I still think Breaking Bad overall is a better series.
Okay.
It's my
I think.
favorite show all time.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
The Wire is a better series overall. They had too many ups and downs and dissatisfying episodes of Sopranos.
100%.
Yeah.
I think the last season and a half to even 2 seasons. I mean, the whole storyline with Johnny Cakes and the gay
Johnny
mobs.
Sacks?
No, Johnny Cakes. Remember the gay mobster that
it
left
was
and
Vito.
everything?
Wasn't it Vito?
It was Vito.
Yeah.
But he fell in love with Johnny
Right.
Cakes out
yes,
there.
Yes.
That whole storyline that just kept going because he got and then his kid. Like I just don't care about that.
Well, I thought they
stuff.
wasted Phil.
Yeah.
And even Robert Loggia when he was Feech Lamont.
Feech.
Yeah.
The reason I think Sopranos is better than both The Wire and Breaking Bad, and again, I've seen both of those things more recently than The Sopranos, is that you care so much more about The Sopranos, like the actual family, the actual characters, because that's not why I came back for The Wire, and it's definitely not why I watched Breaking Bad, where I didn't give a crap about how any of them turned out.
Here's a dong take.
Oh, you didn't like that one? I
I actually kind of agree with you.
Thank you.
I couldn't care
Jump
less.
on my dong.
I mean, there is a very sad moment at the end of Breaking Bad when you see Walt Jr. getting off the bus into that like crappy part of Albuquerque.
I kind of cared about him a little bit
Yeah.
because he got effed in
Well,
life.
I think that there's a difference as far as you definitely get emotionally attached to a lot of the Sopranos characters. A lot of them are rotten people, but you get attached to them because they set up. That was the whole basis of the show is that family dynamic and caring about both families,
Right.
Both the crime family and then the actual family of the Sopranos. But I just thought that David Chase got a little, I don't know, a little
there was
pretentious at times.
an entire episode about Bobby Bacala's dead wife's Ziti when he was dating Janice. And the fact that he even went and started dating Janice made me so angry.
Yeah.
Because nobody liked Janice, and you knew that she was going to be more part of the show because now she's with Bobby Bacala.
Well, David Chase was just like, he got to that point where he's like, I'm David Chase, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to
Right.
do.
That's what happened with Kurt Sutter on Sons of Anarchy.
Well, I never
100%.
watched that show. You know?
Really?
I know. Not that I didn't want to. I just never got around to it.
I think you'd love it until you didn't.
Yeah. Oh, all right. That's fair.
Let me ask you guys: because you're all Soprano fan? I haven't seen it.
Ever?
Still.
Whoa.
Ever. I know.
That's
I know
like
that's
for you.
like my thing. But was the ending, because I heard it was so divisive? Is it still like, how did it land on you?
Yeah,
guys?
it ended
the
on a Journey
finale,
song.
fine.
So.
It depends.
Yeah, I know
on-
you're okay.
It depends on if you read into. There's so many theories, and I happen to believe one of these theories of what really happened. And when you look at you dissect the actual scene, and you
David
really
Chase
look
did an
into it,
amazing interview about it, too.
That's what I'm saying. So if you look into the way that it's broken down, like initially when I saw it, I hated it 'cause I
Right,
didn't
of course.
understand it.
Yeah.
And then as you really analyze it, I think it's pretty cool. If it goes to, I mean, I always hate in movies and in TV shows where like, well, you decide what happens.
Right.
I can't stand that.
Really?
I like definitive, but for this particular thing, I like my version of what happened, so I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not like Inception's ending then?
Inception, I think, is clear cut.
Okay.
Cobb's
What happens at the end? He's still spinning that.
is still
top?
spinning it.
Spinning.
People, but Cobb's token is his wedding ring. He still has his wedding ring on. Yeah, he still got his wedding ring on. It's not that Mal's token was a spinner.
Right.
And so that's been explained.
See, for me, the ending of Sopranos is a lot like, you ever see those paintings that are like pop culture paintings, right? And it's like, oh, they're like James Dean and Elvis are at a bar together while Marilyn Monroe's putting in the thing. But then they add all these other pop culture people in a scene, in like a classic scene.
Yeah.
That's the last scene of The Sopranos, right? Is you don't know if those two guys at the bar are the guys that tried to kill him
Right.
in season 1.
Right.
And you don't know that like Meadow coming through the door is so-and-so. And you don't know who's over in the corner, but he looks really familiar. Like that
Guy
whole
coming
thing,
out of the bathroom.
It's
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
Where's Waldo
Yeah.
situation, and I that's what I really, really liked about that final scene.
That was really well done. But anyway, so I watched it an hour worth of death.
Perfect.
Is
Yeah.
that this morning? Is that how you started your
That was-
day?
that
No,
was
it was yesterday. I was getting ready to go watch Venom.
Well, it's kind of like when I called people that watch wrestling garbage people, and then you said, "Come and watch this garbage," and it was just The Rock.
What garbage?
Like wrestling. It made me
I didn't
watch
say
a bar-
garbage.
No,
I
you
said wrestling.
Come
You
and
said-
watch wrestling. Try to get you. Come and watch these like famous scenes of WWE, and one of them was just The Rock getting hit in the face.
No,
like,
the opposite. Rock hitting mankind in the face with a
like
chair.
a billion times in a row, hitting this dude in the face, and I was like, "This is not appealing to me," but yet I can't stop watching.
Because what I was trying to show you was that it literally was like if you're watching a scene from an action movie. And like, so the stuntman just keeps getting thrown through the window in a particular scene, but he keeps getting up, and the villain is tossing him through the thing. I'm just trying to show you there's no difference. Except the guy that's getting hit in the head he's essentially a stuntman. Mick Foley was a crazy stuntman,
right?
And they were doing it for entertainment value. He wasn't really hitting. Well, he was really hitting him, but he wasn't really viciously doing it to kill the guy. He was doing it because that's what the villain was doing to the hero in that story. What happened, right?
They're doing like a push in on the camera, and it's like right with Josh in the boom right in his face.
I have
so
a
that's why
challenge. I have a
moved over.
challenge for you because I've noticed this and I'll do it on air. I want you to close the chat room until we need them because I want you. I like your point of view.
Oh, all right, thank you.
And I know you get
Does
distracted
your
sometimes.
computer load that quick that if you open that, it will just be back?
Yeah, Macs are great.
You can just close it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just have that challenge. I watched it the other day and I said, you know what? I need Reilly, especially on the main table, just because
I get it.
You get addicted to that chat.
Well, back in the day,
I like to ban people because
I know, but
it's fun.
But we have Alex and he can do it.
Yeah.
but that back in the day, that was you when we were first
know.
doing live.
It was-
You would just sit there and stare at those comments, and I'm like,
And
Christian.
it drove me crazy.
Yeah.
It's definitely me.
Yeah, you gotta stay. I mean, I want
Stay away.
I want those things. I mean, it's one thing to where like say, hey, let's see what they're saying right now, so we can
Sure.
get some comments and phone calls. But in the middle of the show, it's like, yeah,
It's hard. I always try.
Do
Do you know this about yourself? I need to have it up because all of a sudden it'd be like, yeah. So I was like, throwing things at squirrels, and what are they saying in the chat, Reilly? It's like,
Yeah,
holy
right.
shit, I'm trying to get there. So I like to be ready.
I know.
The Squirrel War.
The Squirrel Wars.
Look.
He's going to take him on in a schmodown now.
Squirrel Wars over there, and there's me and the squirrel
my
in the back of it. You didn't see it?
We already established so that you don't have what it takes.
To kill the I won't kill the squirrels.
So then
love
you
the
don't have what
squirrel.
it takes because they will kill you.
No, they won't. They're squirrels.
No,
I'm telling you,
they
man, I'm
will
going to
get
take
you.
the drone over there.
Well,
One
you're
way
right.
or another.
There's a difference between scaring them away with a drone and poisoning them.
Do you want me to poison him?
What? No, I don't
Poisoning them
want to poison
also
them.
kills
You
them.
dirty, rotten people.
Can I buy a CO2
And just-
BB handgun?
They have one next door.
If I was gonna kill somebody, I'd poison
The
them.
neighbors have been popping them in the
Oh,
ass.
good, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
But
good.
they just run away and they come back.
No, you got to get the high-powered one that will kill him.
Well, I don't want to kill the squirrels.
That's why the drone.
They're
people-
overpopulated.
Unless
Everybody
I was going to
wins
eat
with
them,
the
and
drone.
then you don't want
What?
poison
Here's
in
the
their
thing.
body.
Yeah.
Everybody wins with the drone because one, footage. Okay, I can tape the whole thing. All right, and you'll see these
Good.
squirrels
So,
like.
so when these two come up to kill the squirrels,
Yeah.
you tape it and then I'll turn it into the
and
cops.
they scare them away, and we get it all on camera, and they don't die, and everybody wins.
No, just
Scare them. Yeah, but how long are you going to do that? They're going to come back the next day, and then I'll go Reilly come back over again.
Maybe you need an electric fence.
See, the only way that I would
Make
do
it a
it,
flamethrower.
the only way I would do it is if I would get a dog, I would get a dog, and the dog caught the squirrel, and then an accident happened with the squirrel. I'm like, that was the dog.
Okay, I can bring
That's
Cal
a different
over.
thing because
That-
the dog's
Dogs
just running
kill
around.
squirrels?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If Cal got his hands on a squirrel, that thing would be gone.
Well, he doesn't have hands.
Pause.
He's got paws.
You know what I'm saying?
Or what I
Kinda.
learned
He
from
would
your
get it.
stand-up, he's got mitts.
He's got mitts. Yeah. So
My brother has. She's older now. She can't really chase squirrels as well, but he has a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, and those things are natural hunting dogs, especially for small vermin.
Catches them all the time.
Right? So when they lived in Minnesota, they had this outdoor porch, and in the wintertime, this squirrel got in there. And Ben was like, we couldn't get the squirrel out, so we just let Dixie in there. And it was the coolest thing to watch, dude. She just stalked this squirrel, grabbed it, wringed its neck, and then just looked at it like, I got it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
got it.
And
That's
it's
what's
like,
amazing.
yeah,
So
exactly.
cool.
I don't know. Anyway.
Awesome. Coming from somebody who wants to eat humans, just talking about a dog eating a squirrel.
Nobody knew.
She didn't say cruel. She said cool. Oh. Yeah, it's different. You think she doesn't have any compassion?
Yeah, but she said cool and was like,
It was a combination of both.
It was a combination.
It was
of both?
kind of like I actually think
Yeah.
it's cool, but I have to redeem myself from the human eating stuff. So,
Gotcha.
animal cruelty's wrong.
Yeah. How you doing?
You know.
Whatever. What's going on? What's the latest?
I love there's a little bit of positivity.
I feel like there's been a little edge this week.
I'm here.
Am I wrong?
Edge.
There's been an edge.
No
Like
sleep.
living on the edge.
No, but looking for
Edge of
some
tomorrow?
shit.
I'm picking fights.
Not necessarily. I mean, that's what if that's what you think you're doing.
Well, you said looking for shit.
Looking for some shit. I think that you're looking for some shit. Like when it comes to, you're. I wouldn't say combative. I don't think that's fair. But I think that you're ready to scrap. So maybe you're ready for fights.
I think I've been ready to scrap for like years now.
Yeah, but
though.
this week it seems like
coming
you're
out.
ready to scrap on the mic.
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely, I'm on one these days. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when there's like not one portion of your life that's totally working, so
Okay.
they're all not totally working.
when it hasn't
so
been
there's
your day, your
so
week,
there
your
is an
month,
month,
your
or even your year, but then also nobody's there for you. So like, it's not.
I'd like to
fun.
think we're there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
why
kinda-
why do you feel that way?
I just is like with the Papa being in the hospital situation. I was there for literally 21 days, so that
Yeah.
was like
That weighs
fuck-
on you. Yeah, especially no sleep
I'm
and
sleeping in the
emotionally,
hospital,
yeah.
and then I'm going to work, and then
Yeah.
I'm sleeping in the hospital. I'm going to work, so
So you got an excuse. for
yeah,
sure.
I guess so. And then like everybody knows that my love life is DOA currently.
Oh, it's DOA now?
To stick with. Well, it's not. It's not. We
That was
actually
good
had a
friends
really
callback,
good. Thank
though.
you. Thank
See,
you.
that's comedy,
was
Christian.
good. That
I'm
was good.
funny. I've been learning about comedy. We're having a good couple of weeks,
Good.
but he's been out of town, and then like I don't know. It's hard to. LA's hard.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing is
It's a
hard.
grind.
So I understand.
It's a grind.
You're going through it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I'm really going through it. But like, you don't. What do? You just talk about it all day with everybody?
you-
No, you just kind of
You
like.
do this, you vent a little bit, and you
The
let it
only way
flow.
out is through, Christian.
Yeah.
That's what they tell me.
Sure. I'll go with it.
Through like an open door.
Yeah.
I don't
Window.
know. I haven't
When a
figured
door
out.
closes, a window, you break into a
Well,
window.
speaking
Yeah,
of which, I'm
something
going
like
to
that.
throw into the positive. The only reason I'll bring this up is because you publicly tweeted about it.
Sure.
Some good news on your end.
Would you
about
publicly tweet
the
about?
wedding.
Yeah.
It's great news.
Yeah.
What'd you tweet?
I tweeted that there are people in this world that remind you that there is good and that there is light and love. And I have a dear, dear friend who offered me her beautiful home for my wedding.
Oh, that's so nice.
And it was like,
And then somebody tweeted back,
Thank you.
Josh Macuga's a nice guy. I was like, I have a 2-bedroom apartment. in
yeah,
LA.
I don't
That would be
understand that
amazing.
one. And then
Right around the pool.
And it was one of those things that we've been looking, and and our budget is kind of very, very small, so everything has been really hard to lock down. venue-wise. And my fiance was getting sad. She was just like, at one point, she's like, fuck it, we'll go to Vegas. And I'm like, babe, we're not going to Vegas.
That
I don't
happens
wanna, like,
all the time.
Yeah, and so she was like
Broke almost
resigned
three
to
times.
she was resigned to the fact that we couldn't do it. And then we were at this beautiful party on Saturday looking at this backyard that is like 3 football fields. It's huge with
amazing.
lights and trees and infinity pool, all these wonderful little pathways. And my friend called me yesterday and said, "Hi Reilly, do you want to have your wedding at my house?" And it was just like, and I had tears in my eyes because for her to offer that was the most
It's so
amazing,
beautiful.
generous thing I think I've ever happened in a long time.
And
I still think it would look great.
I
in my
think it is a
two-bedroom.
beautiful thing. Just to show you how skeptical I am of the
Oh, I know,
world.
you are-
The first thing I say to Reilly is get a contract.
That's amazing.
You're not wrong.
Riley, can I ask
You're
you
not wrong.
a personal question?
Sure.
Neither of you guys are neither of you guys getting help from your families?
Neither of us are getting help from the family.
So that's what I don't
rough,
understand because I'll be in the same boat one day. How do you how? So you
Well-
just drain your savings account or what?
I mean, I'm saving everything. I'm
Right.
saving everything. I mean, it's Patreon, that's going in there. Anything
But you've been crushing
extra.
it on, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything extra I get goes there. Same with my fiance. And when I say no family's helping, I'm pretty sure my mom and my dad will towards the date be like, "Hey, I got this." Like my mom's already she told me, she's like, "Oh well, I'm gonna go to Costco then and buy some booze for you." I'm like, "Great," because now we can just have booze. Dude, that's a Josh Macuga
Or
special thing too.
buy a Cal the Schmodog T-shirt, and all the proceeds go to Mark Redden.
Yeah, all the proceeds of those T-shirts. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. But I do know my family will probably help, but just not here's a lot of money.
Well, I don't mean in a mean way. Just
No.
sometimes people can't.
They'll
or
throw some bucks our way, I'm sure. They're going to be very active in, helping. And Julie's mother is already doing a bunch of stuff for she's into crafts and stuff and flowers, and she can do all that stuff.
I mean, that was my wedding. It was a lot of donated things and time and.
Yep.
you guys, neither of your families helped at all.
Oh no! Our families helped for sure.
Yeah.
But my mother-in-law is an incredible artist, so she basically did the whole wedding herself, and we traded a lot of things with social media and with Amanda's company. So I mean, our wedding cost what it looked like it cost based on what we paid. Doing a wedding is very, very expensive. You've been married. I mean, it's just it's hard. It's hard.
I've been
A
married.
wedding is really
Yeah,
tough.
I had a married.
I had a marriage.
Yeah, I had a married.
I had a marriage.
Yeah, it is.
We just got married in my living room.
Really?
That's not true.
You got to let me at least go with it for a little bit. You gotta
That
let me-
sounds
you.
ridiculous.
She was.
You don't even understand.
You got to give me.
You could have had her for 2
Do you
minutes.
understand that
I had a good
Josh-
story. I had a really good one building up, and you
just crushed
You made
it.
me wish Macuga was sitting over there.
On the afternoons, Josh and Ken
Yeah.
told me that there was a show called Truffle Pumpers for 30 minutes.
It's awesome.
And it described
This
what's
is the
happening on the
greatest
show.
thing ever.
And I was like, oh my
No.
God, I have to watch it. And the only reason I caught them is because one of them said it was on FX and the other one said it was on Lifetime. And I was like,
Right.
there's a hole.
Well,
There's a hole in the story.
Right. No, we got lucky and found a ski resort.
I
That's
can't-
true.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Tell me more.
It was a ski resort. It was
Wait,
Northern California.
write down where it was.
In Northern California.
No, write down where specifically, and you write it down.
Why don't-
Well,
And then
it's
you
like-
both
I
show
don't
that
have
to
the
me.
It's sort of like that
Bear.
outside Tahoe area,
Bear.
right?
Yeah.
There's a La Pear.
But why
It's
would, okay, here's what I have to think in my head.
Yeah.
Why would somebody lie about a ski resort? That'd be
Right.
amazing.
It's Northern California. It's kind of like
La Pear.
in the vicinity
Was it La
of Mammoth.
Pear
Yeah,
or La Pear? I can't remember.
It looks French.
It's
but
like
pronounced
La
American.
Pierre.
Yeah.
I know that
La
you're
Pierre,
lying
but
now. You're trying too hard.
I'm not telling you. What do you think?
La Pierre.
La Pierre.
La Pear. So that's
It's like
why I would-
pie-
right.
I think you got married. I don't know.
Do you believe the ski?
I know
ski
you
lodge?
got married.
Do
That
you
part
believe
I-
it was a ski lodge? Yes or no?
I'm in Tech Sadie.
No, you don't get text it. You just say yes or no. And I'll give
Yes,
you.
yes.
No, you were right. You were right in the first place. I got married at a place called Into the Seventh Ring. That's
What is
true.
Into the Seventh Ring?
Into the Seventh Ring? I have no idea, but Into the Seventh Ring is
That's
where
a
I got
rock
married.
movie.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful place.
Yeah, and it was really nice.
Was it a church?
It was not. It was just kind of outdoorsy area, and it was.
Are you
awesome.
religious?
No, so it's outdoorsy area.
Was there a priest?
No, there was a woman that we had found on the street, and I was actually going to have. I was.
Oh my God! I just realized.
She was talking on
Do you
a
know what?
What?
Bluetooth.
Wasn't your officiant my officiant?
What? I don't. Was it? Oh, yeah, it was.
It was.
It totally
Wait,
was.
what?
Marilyn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's how we found her.
What?
That's right. We found her.
So-
yeah, that's right. The same person that married Reilly married my wife and I.
Oh,
I forgot about that.
your
She's
OG
1 for 2.
officiant.
She's 1 for 2.
She's 1 for 2.
Yeah.
I'm 5 of 6.
But Pauly Shore was actually there though.
6 of 7.
What? You've been married once.
No, I'm married
he's
6
married,
people.
He's married 6 people. They're all together. 6 of them are all
6
together.
out of the 7 are still together.
right.
I'm 1 for 1.
Right.
Your table is murder's row for when I was sitting at that table. Pauly Shore.
What was it?
Were you a groomsman?
No.
No. It was
Are you guys not? Were you not that close?
groomsman? No. Well,
Did you have groomsmen?
Yeah, I had my brother, and then I had who else was on it? I had my buddies from college. A lot of my buddies from college and my buddies from New York. Like this is 2010.
Were you upset?
No, because it was like Reilly. I didn't have a lot of the guys from Schmoes. Like I wasn't even friends with Macuga at that point.
You didn't even go to the wedding?
I didn't
He
even
didn't know him yet. Yeah.
So you went there.
No. Well, no, it would have been weird if he was there if I didn't know him.
Hey,
You
Yeah.
don't know.
I'm here.
Maybe
Right.
that's how you met him.
Yeah, but it was Carrot Top. It was Viola Davis's brother.
Yeah.
And then
Now I know you're telling lies because you're just talking about the show because Viola Davis.
I mentioned that her brother was at my wedding when his mother
no,
was on
you
the show.
didn't.
I,
And Carrot Top wasn't there.
Carrot Top was. I didn't say Carrot Top. I said Pauly Shore was there
Pauly Shore because of the Comedy Store connection.
So why'd you just call him Carrot Top?
because I messed up the fucking line. We were getting there. We're trying to do a Nightfalls. We're trying to do Nightfalls. Yeah.
So
know.
frustrating.
Can you put on? But this is what I said. I don't want this to get political, so let's not make it political. But it probably will get anyway. Can you bring up my Facebook post from this morning because this was funny. So I don't care if I piss people off in the chat because I laughed at this. And
We're not even looking at the chat.
Yeah, but this was funny, and I don't care if you're on the left or right. This was a funny tweet that my buddy or funny Facebook post that my buddy put out today.
Which buddy?
What? Mike Vogel. That's not it. You got to go to my regular one.
Wait, I know who that is.
Aaron
Mike
Aaron
Vogel.
Bernstein.
He's friends with Roka, but it's
Yeah, I know who it is.
This is you guys don't who's doesn't somebody have a Facebook account open? No, that's my personal page. Forget it.
We're working on it.
All right.
Forget it. Where'd you put it in, Schmovel?
Can you just
No,
tell
it's put on my
us?
regular Facebook. Yeah, but it's not as funny. But there's a picture of it's a picture of
We
Biff.
need it up here. I can I can send it to
The
them.
Daily Today. That's the only place I get news is the
Yeah.
Daily Podcast from the New York Times. And
It's the wrong page. Yeah. It's all right.
It's
Doesn't
the
matter.
wrong
Just let it. We're gonna let
Well,
this
like
die.
you can't just scroll down on the wrong page.
Yeah. It's
That's
just-
what my grandmother does. She thinks that the internet is
Who's
one
that
page.
guy? Go back to that. Who was that guy? Who's that?
Kristian Harloff.
I don't. There's another Kristian Harloff.
He's from Denmark.
I have never seen another Kristian Harloff in my life with
Wait,
the
click
spelling.
on and make them bigger.
The
Look at
current
this guy.
city is Vergel, Denmark.
can't.
He's from Herning.
Look at this guy. But
Is
you can't
that-
log in as him.
We're
That's
gonna
Kristian
friend him.
Harloff.
I just slacked Collider Live.
I want to friend
You can
him.
get it.
Look at this. Who is that guy?
You can get it.
That's
Doesn't
Kristian Harloff.
Looks
So
nothing
clearly
like
it's
me.
you. That's your Danish you. Look at you. You're
Man,
very handsome.
look
You
at
have
this guy.
flowy, long blonde hair.
This poor bastard. Now
I do
everyone's gonna be.
videos. I review movies.
His high-collared wool sweater that is buttoned here.
How long does it take us to
I
get
like
on the
Venom.
phone?
I don't know what he
I don't know.
talking
Can we get him? Someone.
Somebody get him.
When
This
Venom
poor guy.
premieres over here in Denmark, I shall be very excited
gonna
about
get
it.
inundated with messages today. Be like, what's happening?
So I'm just here in Gulsjø, Denmark. It's lovely this time of year.
Put some
Scroll up
some
here.
music in the
Scroll
background,
up.
please.
That, look at that sweater.
Look, he's very
It's
warm because it gets
cold
cold
there.
in
It's-
Denmark.
It's cold
Yeah.
in
It's
there.
very cold.
I wanna look at his about me section. What's he say?
And it's shut down. Thank
He's
God.
kind of cute.
No, look, he's
Yeah,
from
kinda.
Herning, Denmark.
Oh, there you go. He's
he's-
a room above.
He loves Stein Bramsen. You also love Stein Bramsen. That is your favorite musical act in
Oh,
Denmark.
Stein Bronson
his-
knows how to pop.
His favorite athlete is Niklas Landin. He's a famous handballer from
He was at
Denmark.
my wedding.
He was at your wedding as well. Same table as
That's
Carrot
what I was
Top and
talking
Pauly
about.
Shore. Viola Davis's
I
brother.
was with Nicholas at your table.
Look, he loves The Room Above. That is a great
I actually
Denmark movie.
did. I actually did. My wife, actually, Roxy. That's a true story. Stein Bramsen did the music for my wedding. The opening. She walked down. We didn't
Walked
want to do
down the
traditional.
aisle to
So
Stein
it was
Bramsen.
Stein Bramsen.
Over you.
Funnily enough, Stein Bramsen looks a lot like a young Bonnie Somerville. That's Bonnie Somerville's first headshot.
Yeah. It's good, yeah.
About
No,
that.
or perhaps Lily Sobieski. Maybe,
that's
perhaps.
a better
Who's that?
one.
Who's
Yes.
Lily
All right.
Sobieski?
I'm gonna
You
ask.
don't
I'm gonna
remember
ask.
Lily
I'm gonna ask
Sobieski?
Danish Kristian Harloff to shut it down. But we
Oh,
should bring
sorry.
him back. I want to
Okay.
bring him back though.
Would you
I
like me
the
to come
character.
back as
I like-
Danish Kristian
I
If
like
he
Danish
speaks
Kristian Harloff.
English or not,
Yeah.
we should have him on.
Just have him call in. Like just there it is. That's
it.
So zoom in on that. This was wow. Proof we were in the alternate timeline from Back to the Future 3. I mean, look at that picture. Come on. I don't care if you're where you're at. It's a funny meme. I mean, it's funny.
It's hysterical.
Come on, look at the picture. If you guys can zoom in on it on the camera, I don't know if you can do it.
This is also the Danish Donald Trump. Look, he's got the same haircut.
Yeah, look at Billy Zane back there.
Where
On the bottom right.
Zane, right here?
No, bottom right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's in the actual movie, but
Yeah.
the guy with the sunglasses in the back. I mean,
The
that's
3D
that,
glasses.
up top. Yeah, but that is really funny.
Those look like the 3D glasses you get at an IMAX.
I just
Yeah.
wish that the guy in the bottom left had regular glasses on. That would make
Yeah.
it so much better.
Yep.
We could
Yep.
put him on him.
It's really funny. It was funny. But anyway, I laughed
That's
at that. I thought it was funny. So, you can yell about politics and well, you don't make fun of my leader, whatever. It's funny.
You know what's the funny thing is?
my leader.
Yeah, that's what I mean. People
Danish
do.
Kristian Harloff posted the same thing this morning, but it's about Stein Bramsen and Niklas Landman.
Yeah, it's good.
I like that. That's
good,
good. All right, let's talk about this shit piece.
What shit piece?
There's a movie that's coming out this weekend. And
I'm so mad.
all right, let's talk about it. So
What, did you like it that much?
she did.
It's
and
not
that's
even that I
fair.
liked it that much. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
And that's good. I
But,
mean,
and a lot is different than that much.
Well, let's get Roka in here too. Where the hell's that?
Here,
imbecile?
you know what? Because I haven't seen the movie
Yeah.
and I can't really add a ton to the conversation.
You gonna leave?
Don't say that about yourself,
I'll
Josh.
give Roka my mic and he can
Roka's
sit
doing
in.
Heroes right now.
Oh, Roka's doing
I won't
Heroes.
forget it then.
Why don't you just
Never
pretend
mind.
to be Roka?
Are you sure he's not working on something?
It's my what's he working on?
Good question.
He's still working on his spoonsmanship.
That's fair. That's fair. That's what I love about Roka. Roka will literally say, "Hey, you want to be on?" Yeah. You don't know what you're gonna be on. Doesn't matter. I'll be on it. And then you ask him, "You gonna be on the show?" Yeah. What time? 10:30. And he goes just Heroes.
By far, in a way, though, because what you just said actually ended up being an insult. My favorite characteristic of Roka is that he is a yes guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the only things I really like about him.
That's one of the only.
Well, like,
That's it?
well, no, I think it's a really good thing to like about somebody.
He's
like,
a hard worker.
Truly amazing with a knife.
Yeah,
He's pretty good with the knife. It's true.
Well done.
He's good.
He's got some dong takes in life, but
Yeah. Well,
and he takes
Just
some
look
dong
at
in
that
life.
precision.
He's got a lot of precision too.
But I
It's
like
true.
yes guys. I like when you said, "Do you want to compete in this thing?" And he was like,
Oh
yep.
yeah. I'm not taking him down for that.
Do
I'm
you
just
wanna
saying
do this?
the
Yep.
what I'm saying is that he overbooks himself. So it's like
Yeah.
I'll be on, and then he does Heroes.
Yeah, and I don't love that. But
That's what I'm
but
talking
being
about.
a yes guy is cool.
Yeah, I think it's more yes guy.
Pretty
as far as it's like,
yes-ish.
you sometimes you'll do stuff that you even shouldn't do.
Yeah, true.
Like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Macuga's always up for something.
Yeah.
That's why I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Always up for whatever.
All right, I do want to bless you. I do want to review this movie though because I think it's fair that we have all sides. So Roxy's gonna go on the side of the positive. What can you bring up the current score on Rotten Tomatoes? I'm just curious what it is.
By the way, if it didn't fit in with your argument, you wouldn't be pulling it up.
No, it's not true.
Oh.
Yeah,
I just want to say I'm not.
Spitting fire.
I think
Look at that.
I told you I'm having a weird year.
That's a
Does
collection.
Perry's review come out yet?
Yes, it did.
She did?
It
Because
did.
she said it was barely rotten to her.
I read Perry's review and I actually is Perry out there? Oh no, she's in New York.
Perry's
She's in
on her
New
way
York.
to New York.
Yeah.
Was she going to New York?
Girlfriend.
16:30.
New York Comic-Con.
It went up though, Roxy. So actually, your argument is better because it was 21% this morning, and now it's at 33. So
91%
it's gone
of
up.
people want to see it still.
Of course, and I think people should see it. I don't
Yes,
think that
we should.
I don't think that people's if you were interested in this movie, whatever I say or any other your reviewers or Reilly or anyone says, it shouldn't take you away from. If you want to see the movie, you should go make a decision for yourself. I'm just going to tell you.
Did you add to the tomato meter?
Not
You're
yet.
certified,
Not
right?
yet. Yeah, I have to do my review for it first on Schmoes, but we'll be doing it here first. But here's my Tom Hardy's one of my favorite actors today. I did not like the way his character is portrayed. And this is another thing. This is not a spoiler review. By the way, this is a non-spoiler, so I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But I think I didn't love the character of Eddie Brock. What my biggest issues with the movie is that I thought that from what Nolan has done, what the MCU has done, what Wonder Woman has done, these movies to show that how to really make a superhero movie work. I thought this was a step backwards. I thought this felt like something that would have been made in the 90s when they didn't know how to really get these movies right. I thought that the script was all over the place.
Oh.
Like,
Could you compare it to a '90s movie that you didn't think it got right?
I mean, I think that it would. It's in the vein of like the Daredevils and
Fantastic
like,
Four.
Fantastic Four, Blade 3.
Blade 3,
like,
yeah.
No, not Fantastic Four. No. Fantastic Four, I thought was an absolute disaster. This movie.
the Michael B. Jordan or all of them?
No,
Well, for me,
You're talking about Tim Story Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. I think that.
Oh, you're thinking.
I'm thinking about the new one that came out, the Michael B. Jordan one. No, absolutely not. This movie.
It's interesting. Everybody calls it the Michael B. Jordan one.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was.
Anna Kendrick.
But I always
Not Anna Kendrick,
Kate
Mara.
Mara.
Kate
yeah.
Mara.
I was gonna say
Kate Mara.
I call
Ruby.
it. I call it the Miles
Yeah.
Teller.
Yeah.
So.
No, but everybody calls it the Michael B. Jordan one. That's a bummer for him.
Because he's the best.
Yeah, but
And he's
well,
the
he's
biggest star.
the bigger one, but the movie the score, by the way, is great. I'm getting the score. I thought it was
Ludwig
incredible.
Johansson.
Yeah, I thought that there was. I thought that the dynamic between Venom and Eddie Brock was really cool, but it was just some of the dialogue itself that they were talking. I was just like, oh, he just ruined it because I like that relationship between them, and I thought there was something cool about it. I thought that the action in it at times was incredible. And there was so much in there that I was like, okay, wait, where's this movie? And then there was some really there's a restaurant scene that is, I could not believe they kept it in the movie. It was so laughable and stupid.
A lot of people are pointing to that.
Oh,
That
don't
didn't
even-
bother me
I don't
that
even
much.
remember what you're talking
I
about.
the
wanted
restaurant
more of
scene. I
that.
don't want to ruin it for. I'll tell you off air.
Restaurant
So there's a scene where Tom Hardy just comes in
there's
and
a
Michelle
word I can say
Williams,
where you-
Michelle Williams and the other guy and her.
Okay.
Yeah, and he comes in.
Oh, I really like that scene.
Oh, it seems
See,
so bad.
a lot of people are saying it's good, and for me,
Are saying it's good?
That they love.
I really like
that.
that
They love
scene.
that scene.
Wow, okay.
And I think
why
if
didn't
they
you
would have
like it?
embraced that more.
So goofy and strange and
goofy?
awful.
Well, let me ask
yeah.
you this: if they would have embraced that more, because there was that scene in question,
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I was
Okay.
laughing,
All right.
and I was like, okay, this is kind of funny, and
It's
I think
campy.
that they could. It's campy, and I think that if they would have fully embraced that, we would have had a different movie.
There were so many scenes that I didn't like, and that I'm surprised that you pointed to that one.
Yeah, just because the way that it ended, I was like, "That's the tone we're going with." Too. I thought because at one point Venom just says, that they're similar, right? Because the premise of the movie is not a spoiler, is that the symbiote has to connect to its host, and and they have to be similar. That's the whole reason that Venom and Eddie Brock work. I didn't, and Venom even says to him, "We're similar." Whatever, and
That's pretty good. That was good.
and
I agree.
And I'm thinking to myself, I don't see that. I see Venom as this kind of cool, badass outcast in the Alien. I don't see Eddie Brock as a badass.
As a cool outcast.
I mean, he was an outcast, but he was. I don't think he was cool. I think he was just kind of. I don't know, like a.
Tom Hardy's
a
pretty
wuss.
cool.
They did
He
such
was
a
a
great
wuss.
job setting up everything that the character had done and
Yeah, in the
all
beginning,
the
I
cool
thought
things
that's
he
true.
had done.
In the beginning, I
they were
agree with
both
that.
cool outcasts.
Yeah,
I got that.
I didn't like his character. I like Tom Hardy.
Do you think Tom Hardy did the best job with the material he was given he could, or do you think that he did not do a good job?
I think it's a mixture of both. I thought that I don't know behind the scenes from what the guys were telling me before we started is that there's talk that he improv'd a lot, and if he
Tom
and he,
Hardy
and he wrote
did?
a lot of his. I don't know if it's true or not. That he wrote a lot of his lines for Venom, and if that's the case, there's some really laughable bad lines between Venom and Eddie Brock that I was like, I can't believe this was allowed in the movie. It is like
I'm guessing the
third grade dialogue.
improv you were talking about, where when Tom Hardy said that the 40 minutes of the movie that he liked was on the cutting room floor.
And they cut it out, yeah.
That was like the improv, maybe.
That's where I can see Sony's hands all over this. Like the chops, the edit, it's the shortest movie I've been in a very long time.
I can't believe it says it's like an hour 50 something.
It's
Didn't
got to
feel
be
that.
an hour 45
Yeah,
tops.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. I mean, and then there's just like, I don't know, like when you're watching.
What is the runtime? Does it say? Do you guys know?
You didn't see the runtime, but the other thing too is that you look at the Tom Hardy. You can say he's fine. Okay, he's fine in it. Michelle Williams is wasted.
Yeah.
No way. Is it 112 minutes? There's no way.
No. Maybe with the credits. Those credits were long. Those credits
Yeah,
were
the
really
credits are
long.
really long.
Michelle Williams was absolutely wasted in this movie. It could have been
so
any.
good in
She's so
everything
good.
she
She
does.
is wasted.
She was drunk.
No.
No.
Huh?
What?
Was she hammered?
She was wasted.
She was.
Wait.
Roxy
she
Striar,
wasn't used
come
at all.
on.
She wasn't used well.
Oh, they wasted
They
Michelle
wasted her.
Williams.
Yes,
It was a wasted
They
role for
wasted
her.
her.
Well,
Yes.
you
Like
said
somebody
She was wasted in the movie.
of that caliber for
She
to
wasn't
have
hammered.
that
I didn't
role.
get it at first. I didn't get
For
it.
that role because she didn't have a lot to do. And
As
then
I stand
talk
here.
about bad dialogue with the two of them.
I thought she was
Yeah.
great in the movie. I
She
thought
was
did an
fine when
amazing
she was
job.
in it, but she
I
wasn't
thought
used
she did
in
an
it.
awesome job. I thought she did an awesome job.
Right, but she was wasted in it. They gave her nothing to do.
She was sober. She was sober for clarification.
The
purposes.
filmmakers wasted her in the movie. They didn't use
I
her.
didn't feel like she was wasted. I felt like she had a huge role in this, and especially moving forward, I would be very interested to see more potentially.
This thing ain't moving forward. They're not getting a sequel for this movie. No way.
We're getting a
Did
Suicide
it
Squad
end
2.
open?
So
Did it end like? Did it have an open-ended ending?
Yes. You should stay for the credit scenes.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the one thing that Sony did a stinky thing last night too. They said like, say there's two amazing scenes. There's two great scenes that you should watch. There's one mid-credit scene which is relevant if you still care about this thing, and then at the end, it's just a trailer for Into the Spider-Verse, and I have no problem ruining that because you
It's
should
all
know
over
that.
the internet.
Yeah, well, you should know that. You should know that going into it. It's a scene from, which is a great scene, by the way, and I want to see the movie. But don't tease me like it's two scenes for this thing and then
It's-
make me watch a trailer or
it's
scene from
not
another movie. It's an
a
advertisement.
scene. It's like
It's a lot. It's like 3 scenes.
it's very long.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it kept going. I took a girl to the premiere with me that had no ties to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We walked in and she said, "This is like Wolverine, right?" So that was her level of knowledge going into it, which I think is probably 90% of people going to see this movie realistically.
Yeah.
Why did you invite this person?
Because she's awesome.
Sorry.
She's awesome. She loves movies and has so much fun. And I was like, I'm not gonna have to sit with some pretentious fuck
Right.
who's gonna hate this movie and not be appreciative. She was like, yes, I would love to. I love movies. Like she just is great.
She just wanted to have fun.
She wanted to have fun.
I also I was
Perfect.
missing.
So,
I
yeah.
was
The
missing
whole point of movies.
But
Wonderful.
she didn't understand the mid-credit scene at all.
Right.
Like, no idea. And then in the post-credit scene was literally the most in the trailer that you just talked about. It was the most confused person I've ever seen in my entire
sure.
life.
She didn't know what the hell was going on. Yeah,
no
it's not
idea.
tied into it.
No idea.
But the other thing is too is, and I'm not like a huge like comic book fan, but I knew enough about Venom and how important the character was in the Spider-Man. I think like 1984 was like the first time he made an
The
appearance.
Todd
and-
McFarlane.
Yeah, and like,
creation.
he was ranked like one of the greatest villains of all time. He went through, he started with Spider-Man, getting the Venom suit, and then went to Eddie Brock, and then Flash Thompson at one point. Like,
Yep.
and so I was missing that relationship inside the Spider-Man universe.
Right.
I know that a lot of people are not going to, and that's not necessarily one of the reasons I thought
You're
it was a
saying you
bad
wanted
movie.
Spidey in the movie.
I thought that, and I always thought this. I thought Sony rushed out to get a movie made because they just went off of a property, right, of an IP.
With Homecoming?
No, with Venom. Where they knew that they had Venom as an IP and they used it, but they couldn't really tie into what made it so special in the first place.
I loved getting his story without Spidey.
But that's not the story.
That.
It's not the real story. That's the whole
See,
point.
What do you mean
Yeah.
it's not the real story?
not
It's
the
what
st-
they just showed, so it's the real story.
It's not the real story because that's not the story
who's
that
to
I
say
knew.
the real story?
The
You don't
writers
feel-
that created
The
it.
real
not
story.
The
The
real
real
story
story is-
Yeah, the real story of the comic.
I'm not-
So if you made a whole different movie from Lord of the Rings, that's the real story. Then if you
story
had
that's
people,
made is-
Carrot Top was in it jumping around juggling
Okay, let's
eggs.
pause for a second. None of these stories are real because it's absolutely.
It wasn't the same
all
story.
fictional.
It wasn't even based in the actual
IP.
materials. What I'm saying.
I think a lot of it was based in the material. I disagree.
All right, so they based it on
You
some
disagreeing
like
with everything,
legal
lady.
protector.
No, I
there was a
agreed with some of
comic
your
run,
stuff.
but here's to play devil's advocate. I understand what you're saying because now it's on screen and that's the story Sony's telling you.
That's a
correct?
story.
Christian
it's not
is
the story.
Christian is bringing up the source material, which has Spidey integral to the story, right?
Right.
So I get it, which is my big thing walking in. How are they doing this without Spidey? That was the big thing. I see it now. Okay. But to your point, I think they did. They have this Venom character. They have this huge IP. And they're putting it out. And what bums me out so much is that I see Sony's hands all over it. It was cut out all over the place, edited crazy, short.
Poorly. It was edited poorly.
That, like, they rushed it out, and you had such goodwill coming off of Homecoming.
Yeah.
You
We had
really
some-
did, and you can see Marvel's hands being able to know and massage the material. And we got a lesser version of Venom. That's my opinion, though.
We had some weird continuity issues there were some weird continuity issues in the film that I was kind of like, wow, how did nobody really? Like, again, this is not a spoiler, but I won't say what character or whatever. Doesn't matter to the movie. There's one time where a character takes a pin off that character is wearing and gives the pin to somebody else, and in the next scene, the character is still wearing that pin. Like little things like that, where it's like, this movie cost too much money for you to not know that's weird.
It was
that
messy.
happened a lot.
Yeah, the movie was messy.
That happened a lot. There was something, I'm not going to mention it, but there was something that happens, and then there's a wide shot, and you're like, wait a minute, we just watched something happen, and now that thing, it's gone.
That's my point with the movie. As I was watching it, I was like, I was never watching this movie saying, oh my God, this is terrible. Like when you're watching, like, you know, a really bad movie.
A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah, right, but you like to where just every like 5-10 minutes, this is just getting worse and worse. I was getting frustrated with the movie because I really did like the relationship between Eddie Brock and Venom. It's just what they were saying to each other. I was like, no, you guys have this there. And the voice I loved. And again, I turned to Reilly, I go, the voice is pretty awesome.
The voice is great. I love that dynamic, and I wish they could have really embraced it. That's what I was saying with the restaurant scene, with that. It's like,
and Riz Ahmed. Oh my God.
You liked him in this?
No, I didn't.
I thought this was his weakest that I've seen so far.
Easily.
I really love him. Loved him in The Night Of. Love him
Night
in
of
Rogue
is the
One.
greatest.
Love him in Nightcrawler. He is so talented.
Just given nothing to work with.
And he just, I was like, wow, that's wild.
He was a generic
He did
villain.
a good job, but it was by far and away the worst. Yeah,
that's my point.
Fault.
It was generic. It was generic writing for a generic villain. He was just there to have an agenda for a bad guy, and that's all they gave him to do. He was not interesting.
How did you feel
at
about
all.
Jenny Slate? I loved her.
She was fine. And I liked her. She was fine, but she had, again, not enough to do.
Is this Venom better than the Topher Grace Venom? And overall, as a movie, is Spider-Man 3 or Venom better?
It's a tough.
I would say
two
Venom,
tough questions.
Venom, both better. That's for me. I liked it a lot better. There are a lot of things to like about this movie.
Yeah.
I go to the writing and Sony chopping.
I'll go ahead and agree with Reilly on that. If I had to choose you can only watch one again. You have to watch one. I would watch I would watch Venom again because again, the music itself, there's things inside of it that I definitely liked. It's pulpy. You know, it's pulpy, and it is more of like a 90s kind of action, 90s movie. Because I was talking to Bibiani about it last night too, and we were kind of on the same page.
Liked it. Bibbs liked it.
Bibbs liked it because
Bibbs wanted to call in today.
I think Bibbs liked it for some of the reasons that I didn't like it. We both agreed it felt like a 90s kind of comic book movie. He liked the pulp version of it, and I didn't. I thought to me it was.
Do you agree with 33%?
Yes, because but people have to realize this is what, again, and I always got to explain what Rotten Tomatoes is. Yeah. So to me, I'm probably going to go, I'd probably say like 2.5 out of 5.
And 3 has to be fresh, right?
3 is fresh, right? So that doesn't mean I think it's an atrocious movie. I think it's a badly made movie. So even if I went 2.9, it's still a rotten review, right? And that's what all that collective says. It doesn't mean that, people have to realize that when they see
people aren't rating it 33%.
Right.
But I think that it should be the exact opposite. I think it should be 2-1 in terms of 2 people should have thought that it was fresh, 1 person rotten.
66%.
So I would put it around the mid-60s.
Here's the thing. I'm seeing reactions from people I like and trust their opinion that are positive. Okay? So to your point about are we going to get a sequel to pay off that post-credit scene, I'm wondering if we might. I'm wondering if there will be
the mid-credit
a small portion that really likes this, and that it does a decent amount at the box office.
Suicide Squad 2.
Difference. Warner Brothers is locked into with their properties. They have also successful ones that they've used, whether it's Justice League or overseas or Wonder Woman. These movies that have made money for them that they can continue to build on their properties.
Suicide Squad made a ton of money.
Right. That's my point.
And I think Venom's going to make money too.
But
that's what I'm wondering.
I don't think it's going to make a lot of money. And even the thing is, Sony does not have a franchise. They have this one property that they just are holding on to. They had to get rid of Spider-Man or collaborate with MCU because they were ruining Spider-Man. Right.
How many times did it say in association with Marvel?
Exactly.
By the way?
That was
16 times.
Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man was. I liked it, but it didn't do very well. It did okay, but they forced out a sequel which stunk up the joint.
Set up
I
Sinister
loved
Six
it.
immediately.
Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
You don't know that I love that movie?
No. It's awful.
That's the one with the blue Jamie Foxx?
Me.
Yeah.
It's for me.
Wow.
I love it.
That's okay.
It is such an amazing rom-com until it's a rom-drom, and I was all about it.
All right, that's fair. So,
I love it.
But we can't argue that it single-handedly destroyed Spider-Man for Sony.
Yeah,
They had to.
Yeah.
I mean, look
Again, not a great movie. I
yeah.
loved it.
Look at that. I'm shocked by that score. I'm shocked by that
Wow.
score.
So okay.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Did you think Venom was better than Amazing Spider-Man 2?
I did.
Audience
For
score
sure.
64. Those are my people.
No, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a better script and better dialogue.
Do you think
How
that
cute
Venom...
was their dynamic in Amazing Spider-Man 2?
That's why.
They're so cute.
That's why I think I like it. I like it better than Venom.
Do
The
you
dynamic
think-
was good. The ending was good
Venom-
too.
In Venom, their dynamic was good.
I see it. It was just
Who-
wasted.
Is Michelle Williams playing Mary Jane?
No, she's Eddie Brock's
That would be
girlfriend.
that would be
or
something.
love it.
What's her name?
I don't remember. I have no idea. I don't remember.
I was gonna say Allie,
Yeah.
but that's the girl in
She's
Stars
Michelle
Born.
Williams.
So
Yeah, she's Michelle
no,
Williams.
she's in the comic books.
Who is
She-
that? Oh, never mind.
So,
I just thought of the cat.
I can't think of it right now. That's her
so
name.
is this the kind of movie that the fans are going to really... Bless you.
Fucker.
He's got to sneeze. It's dangerous.
You
It's
haven't
big.
gotten me in months, and now
hopefully at the
to
audience
do it
will
on the
too.
frickin' live show.
Wait, what happened? It got on you? This bit?
No,
No.
Roxy. God, I love this.
I love Macuga goes,
No,
Roxy.
he got me.
No, he said that.
Okay. No, I went to a
He got
hospital
me.
once
He's
because I
scared.
sneezed.
What was better, that sneeze or
Don't
Venom?
fuck with me.
Did you blow a rib? Is that what you did?
I got you. I was trying to get her.
Wait, what is her name?
Ralph Biscuits.
No,
No.
I know it's not.
16, 30 to 33%. But I don't know,
That's
man.
gonna
I
go
just,
up. It's gonna go
You know
up.
what it was?
But
I
do you
just-
think that this is the kind of movie that
Yeah.
critics are panning and fans are going to be like, forget it, we're going to run
I think we're
And
going to see
Wayne.
fans. No, I think we're going to
And
see
Wayne.
fans. I think we're going to see fans that are split. I think because there
Yeah.
will be fans that, if you look at, we're taking two of our colleagues in Bibiani and Merle, right?
And Roxy.
No, but they have different takes than you do, I think. And if you're in this, then sure you'll be part of the three. But they what they really liked was the pulpy 90s feel of the way these movies are made. And Bibiani agreed with me that there was a standard that was made with when Nolan came around and with MCU that we hold these movies now, these comic movies, at a higher standard because they've evolved, right? He was okay with it jumping back. I was not. Because I thought that I think it was a big setback. I think it was a setback in movies. Like I can't sit there and just accept bad dialogue in a movie just because it's fun and pulpy. That's not why I'm paying to see a $100 million movie. You know, I want to see.
How much did you pay?
You know what I'm saying? If I'm a paying,
It should still have good dialogue.
That's what I mean.
The dialogue was definitely the weakest part of the film.
awful.
Yeah.
And I thought for the amount of the talent that it had in Riz Ahmed, Tom Hardy, and Michelle Williams, they did not showcase their abilities
Jenny
to the
Slate.
fullest.
Right.
And Jenny Slate, who was probably the best out of all of them, to be honest. And that character was.
What does she do?
She's a scientist. She's
scientist.
around. She's around for maybe half an hour, maybe an hour.
Every time they would scratch the surface of an interesting dynamic, whether it's Eddie and Venom or the relationship or the villain, it was like, did you get it? Great.
Yeah.
And we just move on. And that's,
got
again, the
it.
editing.
Yeah, it was rushed.
You just,
The movie
like,
was very
rushed.
rushed.
Before I knew it, it's like we're at the climax, and I'm like,
It did start a lot stronger than it finished.
I agree
for
with
me.
Yes.
that. I agree.
Like,
Started great.
For the first hour of the movie, I was kind of like, what are people talking about?
Set up an investment.
And-
That's why, because it was set up an investment in the
And
movie.
then, yeah, but you know what I feel similarly about? And it's one of my favorite movies of the past year, but Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman ended poorly.
I
for
don't feel the
sure.
same about Venom and Wonder Woman
I know what you're saying.
as a whole,
I know what
but
you're
I'm
saying.
saying that build up where you're like, this is so good,
Yeah.
and then you're like,
It was just Captain America at the end.
Well, but Wonder Woman to me, I thought held strong for the entire film up until the end.
Right.
Like the last battle with the villain and the reveal was shitty. I thought it was my opinion on it, but even the dialogue was better. This movie, I agree with Roxy that the first 10 minutes, I'm with her. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dig this movie because they set up who Eddie Brock is. They set up what he's going through, who he is, what his career's like, what he's about to lose if he doesn't do things right, the stakes that he has gotten himself into, I thought was done very well. And then they got rid of all of that as far as storytelling and investment in character, and they just went it was just a choppy mess. It was just a mess with atrocious dialogue. I mean, atrocious.
And then there was not many. This bothers me a little bit in comic book movies when there's no consequences for major things, and you're like, I'm still waiting for. There was one major thing that like took place, and we kind of saw that maybe there would be a consequence, but I'm still waiting.
Right.
Like, so what?
If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, I couldn't agree more, and that's that I can't let go of.
Yeah.
Like there are things that happen that
we'll talk about it at the break.
we'll talk about it at the break.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to spoil it for
But in
anybody.
general,
I don't.
Did you guys think it
It's
was
like-
funny?
Open that up for a second, so we'll hear some.
Did you think it was funny? I thought it was funny.
There was some. Yes.
There's some funny moments,
Okay, so here's the thing. There were some funny moments that hit because they're supposed to be funny. And then there are other hysterical moments that I think that lands into the pulp part of it that were not supposed to be funny. Like I'll say that there's one thing. This isn't a spoiler. And there's a scene out of nowhere. Like it's just the way that it's cut, right? Like they're talking about something. You see this weird scientist in the back. He just kind of puts his hand on his face, right? And in the background, and it gets a huge laugh in the theater because of the way it's cut. It should have just been ignored.
Right.
It's so weird the way it's like almost cut for this cheesy laugh, and it just doesn't fit the scene. It's like a really serious scene. It's so weird. It's like the movie is cut very strangely. I like the odd dynamic, and it is an odd buddy comedy at one point between Venom and
Really?
Yeah.
I love that. That's what I wanted to
like
I
that's the
saw
best.
a lot
That's
of
where the
people
crazy stuff.
tweeting saying that they felt like that people who haven't seen the movie saying that they felt based off the reviews that this was going to be similar to The Room in terms of you're laughing at it, not with it.
Is that mine? No, they're adding to this. It's good.
Wow, it really
good.
did
That was
look
perfect.
like
That was
yours.
really good, guys.
Well done.
Well done.
I didn't feel that way. Just to clear that up, this to me in no way, shape, or form resembled The Room.
I agree.
What's
No.
better, Let's Be Cops or Venom? I'm going to start throwing
Venom.
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 Okay. What's better, Venom or
There's a difference here.
Phantom with
Venom. So again, what a lot of people are
Daredevil
doing
or Venom?
Venom.
Venom. There's a difference. There's a difference in this movie. To me, it's not one of those.
Batman
movies.
Forever or Venom?
Venom.
Damn.
It's not
He
one of
didn't
those.
really dislike it.
It's
He just
not
didn't like it.
one of those movies. It's a movie that I just felt I was so disappointed with because the way that I say it is literally the movie is about a symbiote who's trying to connect to the right host. Right. I felt the whole movie itself was a symbiote that never connected to its host.
I saw that tweet. It was pretty clever, actually.
Thank you.
The symbiote, and again, without giving things away, storyline of how they connect with the
The
host.
fans don't know what that is. If they're listening on audio, you turd.
How they connect with the host and
It's good,
all
though.
of the science behind that. It's kind of like, you know how sometimes you're watching a movie that has to do with time travel and you're like, I just believe the rules you set up, so fine. And then sometimes you're watching and you're like, your time travel rules don't make sense,
Right.
even though none of them really make
Like
sense.
Time Traveler's Wife?
This was like your time travel rules, which aren't time travel, are science rules.
Right.
They don't make sense. Like,
Right.
I'm not giving you the pass on this because it really doesn't make
Yeah, and it
sense.
was-
So this is like the
bad-
on-screen chemistry of like a rom-com that doesn't work.
No, it works for me.
No, I'm saying between Tom Brock,
No,
Brock
that worked for
Simons,
me.
Tom Brock and Tom Simons.
Tom Brockmeyer,
Tom Brockmeyer and Vahan.
Brockton,
Because
Massachusetts.
Oscar Mayer has its way with
No, the relationship
B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
between Venom and Eddie Brock's the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What are they saying?
Hands down. What are they saying? Well, one, I want to bring up a great point, but also I can counter it. But there was a number of Venom runs that didn't involve Spider-Man. That was from the chat. Thank you for that because I think that's important to mention. However, Venom
That's what I was saying.
But he was
Venom was
introduced.
set up with
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Right.
He got popular through Spider-Man.
That's true.
And then you're able to branch out.
But you can't
Am I-
just say this is not the story. This is not maybe your favorite story.
what I'm
But
saying
this is
that-
what I'm wondering then with Sony going, we've had those run. He's popular, so they'll be okay without including Spider-Man.
It's just like again, it was to me. I said that I got disappointed that Spider-Man wasn't in there because of the take that they went with didn't work for an origin
Would you
story
call it
for
a
me.
dong take?
No, because you
What
don't
kind
know.
of take?
I don't think you know what that means.
I think I do.
I do not think it means what you think it means.
Here's a dong take.
No, it does.
I mean,
Can we
Marriage.
I want to pull that clip from
Perhaps
from
Marriage.
the Danish Kristian Harloff would have a different opinion of this Danish.
What do you
Venom.
think about it, Danish Kristian Harloff?
Well, here's the thing. I am
Can we give him
very.
some sound effect or something?
Yeah, perhaps that the times that I saw Venom was very different. I saw it with my girlfriend, and we went to a very lovely date before and said we saw the Venom.
What were you listening to in the car?
We listened to Stan Brimstein.
Good.
And then we were watching highlights of
99
old
Left
handball
Bones?
matches with Niklas Lindemann.
What's
Sorry,
your
what's your favorite song of hers?
Stan Bromstein's
Yeah.
song?
My favorite Stan Bromstein song is Magnolias in the Field.
I mean, I like that one too.
It's very good.
It's a really good one.
It's lovely.
What's the
Underrated.
I don't remember the chorus.
That
of
was
that.
It's Magnolias in the Field.
that was the Oscar winner for
See?
Best Song in 1985.
Yes.
Here's go down, go down.
His education was at the Herning Gymnasium.
Look, there you go.
Yes.
I'm
and
downloading Stein Bramstein.
Stein
together.
Bramstein, yes.
we just got a lot of people downloading
Yes.
Stein Bramstein.
What did you study at the gymnasium?
At the Herning Gymnasium,
Yeah.
I was an engineering student first and foremost.
Oh.
But
That's a good program for.
yes, I'm working on the bridges that are becoming very popular in Denmark.
Well,
with
Christian, let me
many
ask you a
bridges.
question. Did you think that? Did you think the science was good in Venom?
No, see, perhaps Venom's science is a little different than the science I'm used to when it comes to symbiotes.
Okay.
Because
what are
here-
you used to normally?
Well, in Denmark, we have many symbiotes. They mug with crackers
Yes.
and beers.
Right.
And
Crackers and beers sometimes
crackers
together.
and beers together.
And how do they merge with the crackers and beers? How do the symbiotes?
And so you put the crackers in the beer.
Oh.
The beers.
And the beers. And then the symbiote goes around the mug, and it becomes a Venom mug.
And if
like
it's
that.
not a mug, are we in trouble?
Yeah, it can
It's
go
called
in
crappers.
cans or bottles,
Oh.
whatever.
Yeah, it's crappers.
You know, yes.
I like
yes.
it. Well,
Old Stein.
thank you for joining us again, and
You're
we'll
welcome.
talk to you a little later.
Perhaps I'd love to come back.
Okay. So good.
Very true.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to get off your chest about Venom before we put it to rest?
I have many things to say.
Not you. You're
Sorry.
done.
No. I'm just sick and tired in general.
Oh, okay. Of everything.
That was the end of it. No, I'm sick and tired in general of people tweeting about a movie they haven't seen.
I don't disagree with that. I think that people
Don't
do
tweet
that.
about it.
See the
Or
movie.
go see.
Well,
go,
I think people
or
can
don't
tweet
go see
about
it.
it.
If you don't want to see it,
If you don't wanna see it,
you
but
align with
we are
certain
not-
critics and
Yes.
you
Yes.
believe their opinion and you don't want to see it based off that, that's fine. But then you can't tweet about it that you hate it.
Yeah, that's the thing. For me, is it's more of you shouldn't be able to tweet and say I hate this movie. Have you seen it? No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
And there's a lot of. Did you see this? That a lot of Gaga fans are
Yeah.
tweeting horrible things about Venom
really,
because they want Stars Born to do really well.
it's gonna
And-
do well regardless.
But people who haven't seen the movie, so
silly.
it's interesting that
Two
that's
different audiences. Anyway, look, we're gonna go to break. When we get back, we will be talking about some movie news. We just talked about a comic book movie, but Man of Steel 2, it was pretty close to happening, and we're going to
Poor
talk about
Reilly.
exactly how.
I know.
And if just let everyone know, the Richard Dreyfuss interview is back on the air. I'll explain exactly what happened there yesterday. Collider Live.
Hello there. No, it's not late to the party. That's actually from Obi-Wan Kenobi. You didn't know that? Well, you should, and now you do. Jedi Council. What is it? It's about Star Wars, obviously. It's Jedi Council. Every week, the latest and greatest in Star Wars movie news. Myself and Ken Knapsack, that's right, the pit boss himself. We have a guest on, and we talk about everything happening in the world of Star Wars. If it's the movie news, the TV news, canon news, comic books, games. And then we take questions from you guys on Facebook and Twitter. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing it for a couple of years now. I'm still excited talking about it. The fan base is coming together again. I believe it is. I think it is. I hope it is. And we're talking Star Wars, so we'd like you. That's right. All of you. If you're not a fan of Star Wars, come on over and join us every Thursday for Collider Jedi Council here on Collider Video. And we have an Apple Podcast feed or Podcast One, wherever you want to go if you listen to podcasts. And not only do you get Collider Jedi Council every week on Thursday, The Rule of Two with Mark Fernandez and Mark Reilly, that's on every week. I believe it drops on Wednesday. It's on one of these days. It's a good show. You should listen to it. I like it. I listen to it. I haven't listened to it once.
Hey everyone, Mark Ellis here. You know, when I'm not trying to clone dinosaurs or drinking at my neighborhood watering hole, I am probably hosting Collider Movie Talk. It's a flagship show here at Collider. I like to say that because I'm the host of it. It's every day, almost. It's 4 days a week, which is still pretty good, above 50%. You can watch it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 4 p.m. Los Angeles time is when we do it. It's live, so you can participate in the live chat room. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on every story we have coming because it's all the latest movie news of the day. Who did what at the box office? What horrible Redbox movies Bruce Willis signed on to? The DC, the Marvel, the Star Warses, the Lord of the Rings. Are they making new? I think it's a TV show, and we still might talk about it anyway because we love movies around here. It's myself and an expert panel of guests, including John Roca, Perry Nemiroff, Jeff Snyder, and other noted noters of note. You guys are going to love this show, and then we take your live Twitter questions at the end of the show at Collider Video. You can always use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk to get in touch with us, so subscribe right here to Collider Video. Check out Movie Talk, and check out the Collider Movie Talk podcast feed. We have a podcast feed now. You don't have to look at this handsomeness. You can just listen to it, whether you're driving to work, whether you're driving from work, or you don't have a job, but you have a basement and ears. You can listen to Collider Movie Talk's feed. You can get it at Apple Podcasts or on iTunes. You also get Mailbag. That's the show that's hosted by Perry Nemiroff, a lot more professionally than I run this pirate ship. That's our weekend show where she takes your letters. I don't know if you write them or you email them. You have to ask her. And Afterthoughts, hosted by Ryan Snelling and Jay Williams. I almost said Ryan Williams and Jay Snelling. Would anybody have known the difference? I certainly would. I would have felt bad about it because I'm a nice person, and that's why I host Collider Movie Talk. Check it out in video form or on our podcast feed.
Hi there. I see that you're enjoying Collider Live. After this show, why not check out Collider Games, where we play, well, games. We review games, we talk about things, anything that's going on in the gaming world, our opinions, news, all kinds of stuff. So check it out. If you like it, stick around and subscribe.
Hey everyone, John Roca here, one of the hosts for Collider Sports Time. That's our new show there on the Collider Sports Network. It's our flagship show, just like Collider Movie Talk. We get on, talk about a bunch of sports issues of the day and what is burning up social media, what topics are burning up social media. That's what we do on Collider Sports Time. I'm joined by my top 10 co-host, Matt Nost. Me and him, we welcome a bevy of guests every week to talk about NFL, the Major League Baseball playoffs, NHL, and the NBA, which is starting up soon. We're going to talk about that. We also get into UFC stuff, college football, all the stuff that's happening in the world of sports. We're going to cover it on Collider Sports Time. And we're going to take the time to break it all down and give our opinions and our unique takes and unfiltered thoughts on what we think about the sports news of the day. So don't forget to join us every week on Monday for the Collider Sports Time show on the Collider Sports Network. And don't forget to subscribe on the Collider Sports Network on YouTube and on the Collider Sports podcast feed. We're going to bring you all kinds of stuff. Hope to hear from you soon.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott Movie Manson. Just to let you know, if you already don't, every Friday here on Collider Video, I host a weekly film review series called Movie Review Talk. The title says it all. Every week I'm joined by two guest critics of my choice, and they're never the same. We review the new films. We pick something that's streaming that you might not know about, but is really great. And we pick a Blu-ray for something that you might have missed in theaters. It is fun. It is infectious. It is the Citizen Kane of movie review shows, and it's only right here on Collider with this guy, Scott Movie Mance, Mr. Movie Release Dates himself. Check it out every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, only on Collider Video.
And we're back. Collider Live here. It is Wednesday. We just did a whole review on Venom. What's wrong?
We forgot during the break to talk about the thing I wanted to talk about.
We'll talk about it after the show. Roxy Striar is here. Josh Macuga, Mark Reilly. At the 11:30 hour, we're going to have the great Michael Ironside is going to be in there, too. We're going to talk to him. He has a new movie called, Reilly, help me out here.
Knuckleball.
It is Knuckleball. It's a Knuckleball. And we're going to be talking to him once he comes in about Knuckleball. We're going to be talking about everything, whether it's Total Recall, Top Gun, a lot of things. So
I'm sure Cobbster's got some Starship Troopers questions in there somewhere.
Of course. Yeah, Cobbster definitely should. And we're going to be talking about some movie news in just a little bit. But what I didn't realize is that I thought that we were going to be done today with this particular individual, but we're not, because during the break, Beardo and Cobbster told me that the Danish Kristian Harloff is actually calling in from a Stom Bromson's concert. You can hear the music now.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite of the Stein Bromson.
Oh, he's at the concert. So, Christian,
yes.
Are you there?
Yes, I love this song. This is one of my favorites. This is a Stein Bromson classic.
What song is this?
I believe it's called "The Wind Whispers Windliness."
Okay.
And
top charts.
It's currently, right now, it's Danish pop charts. It's number one. It has been number one for the last 9 whole weeks.
9 whole weeks.
Yes.
Wow. And,
yes.
and is she? How is she as a person? Have you met her in person?
Well, no, Stein and I have never met personally, but one time I was at one of her concerts. It was at a smaller venue in northern Denmark, a little outside of Copenhagen. It's called the Dome.
The Dome?
The Dome.
Oh, the Dome.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I was at the concert.
Dome take.
Yes. And the acoustics in the Dome are very lovely. Very lovely.
And you met your wife there, correct?
I did.
What was her name?
Patricia.
Patricia, very nice.
And
Patricia Harloff.
Yes.
All right.
She's lovely.
Oh, she took your last name. That's
Yes.
nice.
She's also an engineer like me. She
From
has,
the gymnasium?
she went to the Herning Gymnasium as well.
Right.
Yes. And but so I have never met the lovely Stein Brunson.
She's really
she's the Celine Dion of Denmark.
Can we hear a little bit of Stom? Blast it. Oh, she's English.
Yeah, she sings in English, but also Danish.
Can we find a Danish version?
She also sings in the Denmark language.
Danish, yes.
Denmark.
And, she is famous for her one album, which is a classic riddle, is that a flute with no holes is no flute at all. But a donut with no holes is a Danish.
Did she write that?
Yes.
A great Caddyshack.
Question, just because I don't even really know what Danish sounds like, could we just get a little sample?
Yes. What would you like me to say?
Let's give him the effect. You can sing a Danish song.
Oh,
right?
yes, I can
sing.
sing.
Beardo, give him the effect.
Yeah, good,
All right, here you
good
go.
point.
Sing your Danish song.
I want to lift a lion above my head with that.
Sorry, just because I'm uneducated, what did that translate to?
Go ahead.
The wall is looking, but you are not looking at the wall.
I want to hear the full version, though. Please go again.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Gotta know what
Here
happens
we go.
next.
It's time to go.
Yo! So
Take it from the top. Take it from the top.
Oh, yeah.
Take it from
Start
the top,
again.
please. Take it from the top. Please,
if I could I,
you know Stom.
I do. I know Stom. Could you just give me a little bit of a backing track, if you don't mind?
Right. No great singer can sing without it.
Correct.
So we
I don't
do
think you can do both. You know Stom Bromson, I'll tell you that.
It's just I know. This is why I go to the. This is why I go to the concerts. And
you try to get better every single time.
I do. And so Stein Bromson and I one time it's a concert at the Dome.
Yeah, you're in the Dome right now.
Yes. I went and we locked eyes on stage.
Yeah.
She looked at me and I looked at her and we knew in that moment.
That you both had gas?
Yes. Yes.
All right, well, thank you for joining us once again.
You're welcome. I should come anytime you'd like.
Yeah, I love it, Reilly.
I think my favorite thing in the world in this chat is one guy just, I don't know if he's ever been here before. Most likely not. Clicking and going, why is that dude singing in German? That is welcome. Welcome to Star-Lord user
Hashtag
729.
Why
Where
is
the
that-
hell you are.
Why is that dude?
Just so fun. Just walks in. This guy, this is what he did. Oh, there's a Venom review. Click. Why is that guy singing in German? And he's out. He's out. This is hysterical.
I still do wonder about the
love it.
walls that aren't looking back at me, though. And those lyrics
good.
really did touch my soul. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm looking
Thank
forward to
you.
having you back on the
Hey,
show.
I'll-
All right, thank you so much. Let's get into the news.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, we got some breaking news
Oh,
that I want to get
all right.
into because this is a beloved property
There you go.
Dateline.
that is now getting.
Son-in-law?
Set me up here, Macuga.
Dateline.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I went to
anyways.
Germany.
What happened? You went to German?
Dateline, October 3rd, 2018. Hot news coming off the presses.
According to THR, Lilo and Stitch.
really paid off.
Lilo and Stitch live action remake
Oh.
happening at Disney. We got a Lilo and Stitch is a beloved property, one of my favorites growing
this
up.
idea.
It's going to be live action. They don't know right now if it's going to be for streaming, for theatrical, and whatnot. But there it is, THR coming in hot.
Love this idea. I think
Yeah.
It's a very
Wait, Reilly.
smart idea.
Yeah.
You grew up with Lilo and Stitch?
I mean, it's one of the ones. No, I watched it when it came out.
I gotta
Are
get.
you being facetious right now, or you're not?
Oh, it's
I'm not. I love
2002.
it.
Yeah.
You love this idea. You
Love
think
this
that it's a
idea.
great idea.
If it's going to be a streaming service for the new series, 100%.
Oh.
I think Stitch could be great as a live action
Series.
Andy Serkis.
No, as a movie. They're going to live action. Remember?
You just said series.
Did I say series? No, for their
Streaming.
for the streaming service.
Yeah,
Oh,
they don't know if
service?
it's streaming
Yeah.
or theatrical.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you want it to be a live action movie on
Totally.
their streaming
Well, they're doing
service?
it for Lady and Tramp also.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, and I think Stitch,
Which
could-
happened long before.
Yeah, I think Stitch could be incredible, brought to life from the way. I think they're putting money into it regardless. If it's live action in the theater, I'd be pretty cool with it too. I think that there are not enough great movies for kids. There really are not enough great live action movies for kids. There are some, and I'm talking about I know right away I can take my daughter to see this live action movie when it comes out, and I can't wait for it because it always reminded me of my late great pug Taz. Always you would have loved him. Always reminds me of that little stinker. So I'm excited for it. I think that it's going to be. I think it could be something really cool. You don't think you don't think it's something that should be made?
Nope.
How come?
Why?
I don't want it. I love Lilo and Stitch.
Okay.
I don't know why, and it could be really good, but I don't want it.
Okay.
I don't understand why this would be a thing. Why would we make a live action Lilo and Stitch?
Can I tell you why?
This is the joke that I have made for the last few years when we talk about Disney movies, which ones you would make live action.
You wouldn't do Lilo and Stitch.
Oh God.
Okay. So, but for that rationale alone, you've got Cinderella made crazy money.
And was excellent.
Yeah, Maleficent stinks, but it still made a lot of money.
I liked it.
It stinks. But then
I liked it.
That's fine. And then the other one, Lion King's gonna crush. Jungle Book crushed.
It was great.
All those movies made a lot of money, so now they're going after their properties.
I'm not
right?
saying it's not smart of a business move,
You
but
just don't wanna
as a
see it creatively.
consumer,
I see.
Yeah.
I like Lilo and Stitch.
Me too. I love.
She
Lilo
just doesn't
and
think it
Stitch.
should be made as a
A
live
live
action.
action. Why? It's
like
the
E.T.
whole, because there's certain there's
Would you like to
certain
see a live
animated
action-
movies that you could not do that are animated for a reason. The imagination, I just
You
don't
don't think that they can do that with the technology?
physically.
today?
I think they can, but why would it be better? Why would you rather see a CG Stitch?
This
Because
is
they
the
might
world
be able
we
to evolve
live in.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
we got Beauty and the Beast. We got
Yeah.
Little Mermaid. We're
I
getting
think they-
Aladdin. We're
yeah, I
getting
think they
Mulan.
made-
It's going to happen.
I think they made those things inside. I think they made the Beast look pretty good in Beauty and the Beast, and I think that they can
But
make.
the Beast was still played by Dan Stevenson.
So what?
Or
You
Stevens.
can
What's
do
his name?
you can do a
Stevenson.
performance capture with Stitch.
Yeah.
Oh, you think they're going to? Stevens, thank you.
Yeah, they could do
Andy
performance
Serkis.
capture with Stitch. I think that they should do performance capture with Stitch. They shouldn't do it like
Like
Roger Rabbit or anything. No.
Like Gollum.
I guess maybe.
That's performance capture.
I
yeah.
mean, I'll definitely see it, but
No. What's the chat? I want to see the chat. Are you guys just
See,
give
for
me
somebody that loves musicals this much, the fact that you
I
are,
love Lilo and Stitch.
give me a yes or no on for the chat.
We
If
got
you,
to agree with Roxy.
they're all
There's
agreeing?
one.
Okay, so let's say yes.
Stitch's Gizmo. That's very
Yeah.
true.
Yes or
Could
no?
be.
Just give me a yes or no. Should they remake or should they make it into live action?
Family means
Yeah,
no
because-
one gets left
so
behind.
so the guys brought up. I mean, this is.
Pretty good
I know
stuff.
not. And there's no dispute here from Roxy on this that these movies make money. But look at what they've done so far. Beauty and the Beast. I didn't realize that made the most. Alice in Wonderland.
Did you like Beauty and the Beast?
I did a lot actually. The Jungle Book. Maleficent. So I like Beauty and the Beast. I like the first Alice in Wonderland. I know a lot of people didn't, but I liked the first one. The second one was horrible.
What year did Lilo and Stitch come out?
I want to tell you 2002, but that might be wrong.
Wow, that's so early.
I've seen a lot of no's.
There's a lot of
I'm
no's.
actually seeing a lot of
there you
no's.
go, Roxy. So 2002.
Yep,
A lot of.
Wow.
Here's some yeses, yeah, of course.
All right.
But I'm seeing more no's than I am
Wow.
yes.
All right. So
Yeah.
so look, I'm shocked. I thought more people would be on board with the possibility of this, but it seems like they're
It's
on
just
your
so
page.
great.
Yeah.
That's the problem, though. Anytime anything's ever been remade that was great, what I've said is it's just so great the way it is. And then, if the remake's good, not even a remake, if the live action version's good, then it's good.
Right.
So we'll see. But I don't know. I just don't think they could do it better.
Peach
I
Dragon.
tend to agree
Peach
with that. I
Dragon
mean,
was-
it's hard. You're going to remake a beloved thing, and you already have the bar set pretty high, and that's with any movie. Is it going to come out well?
But some of them just seem to make more sense to me. Like a live action Aladdin makes more
Right.
sense to me.
I don't
I
disagree
get
with that. I don't
because
disagree with
the
that.
chemistry.
If
in
there was
it-
two choices, if you said which one is the better fit for live action, I'm agreeing with you every time that it's Aladdin, Mulan, those movies.
Mulan, definitely.
For sure. But yeah, not. I still think they can do something fun. with Lilo and Stitch. Anyway, all right, let's move on.
I
What's
wouldn't
next?
pick Lady and the Tramp as
That could be really interesting.
yeah.
They're gonna have to do the same thing they did for Jungle Book and Lion King for that one.
You got to motion picture that spaghetti. Motion capture that
Please.
spaghetti.
I would like somebody plays.
And
the
Justin
spaghetti.
Otherwise, it
Theroux's
would
gonna be in it.
break.
It's gonna
I've
be
tried
great.
that.
What's that?
Justin Theroux is going to be in it.
Is
It's
he?
gonna be great.
Who's
Oh,
he? Does he play Tramp?
I
love
believe
him.
so.
I love him,
yeah,
and
fantastic.
I love him. I love when you wear that shirt. I love the leftovers.
I love the leftovers.
Love you, Roxy.
So good.
Really?
Yeah, I love that job. I'm not bullshitting. I love
It's
it.
one of the few shows
Really
out
We
good.
never
there.
talked about that.
Yeah, I loved it. My wife and I watched
So
that
good.
one, and like we couldn't stop.
It
I'd like
was
to go
so
back.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back
3
and
seasons,
watch
right?
all 3. Yeah.
That's Lost. We have to go back.
Yeah. All right, let's
Ooh, love Lost.
boom, 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 boom,
I'm
boom.
leaving.
All right, what do you got next?
There was a new look at Hellboy that came out that I thought was pretty awesome. If you guys can try to find that poster, the
the
link's
poster,
there.
right? Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah,
What
it's
did you
cool.
think?
That was cool.
Do you guys care
Doesn't look-
about how
Looks like Conan the
Not
Barbarian.
necessarily. It doesn't mean that I don't.
Really? See, I thought I saw a lot of people saying this is whoa, yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't think it looks so much different than the Ron Perlman one. I think.
Yeah, you're right on that.
I think it needs to look similar anyway, and I like the sword, and I think it's interesting. And I've never been like a huge Hellboy fan. I think both the Del Toro movies are cool, and I actually like the second one better than the first one, and I enjoyed them. I'm not like a fanboy over them.
Yeah.
I like them, and I think. I'm curious to see what they do with the new version with a new director, and
God, I'm so excited
yeah,
for this one.
You are? That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Roxy.
No, I mean it because
Neil Marshall, director of The Descent, a number of Game of Thrones episode, is doing this version.
Cool.
And he's doing it R from what I've heard. So that's where
is
it
it
gets
R?
me excited.
That's cool.
I think they're aiming for an R.
Yeah.
Could change.
This is easily a movie that I could watch and say to myself, "Wow, that movie kicked my ass," and I'm
Yeah.
so glad that it did.
You see the tagline?
What is it?
Legendary AF.
That's cool.
Legendary as F.
Yeah, I mean that's
We're hip. We're cool.
but
Yeah.
that's what Hellboy is though. That's
Yeah.
what Hellboy is. Yeah, sorry, Cobbster. Yeah, I see the it works. It fits my interpretation of what I think this should be. So what do you think?
So he's got
Roxy?
the horns, but then he's cut him off.
I don't know.
It's not a property I care
It's plot
about at
point,
all.
yeah.
Not in a bad, kind of similar to you.
Sure.
Like it could knock my socks off. And I saw on the internet, like similar to you, Reilly, people were yoked
Losing
on
their
this.
mind.
Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
were all in
They were
on
crazy.
it. I don't
They're
know
like,
why
"This
I don't
poster
care.
fucks."
Even
I hate that saying
It's
so
April
much.
12th. April 12th is when it comes out.
I think they
'Cause
moved it, yeah.
When did they pushed it to April? When was it originally supposed to come out?
It's going to come out in January of this year, 2019.
Oh, good. Well, then they have confidence in
Yeah.
it. That's what that means.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
it's October 3rd. That's Mean Girls Day
Oh, cool.
Oh, good.
today.
All right, what's next?
Something that you do like Rambo, right? Did you see the
do.
first look? You see the
Of
first
what?
look at Rambo for Rambo 5.
Wait, this is like legit gonna happen?
Legit,
now?
yeah.
They
Can you guys pull it
the
up?
First look? Yes.
Yes, he just began filming Sylvester
Yes.
Stallone.
That's not first look. That's an old school picture, isn't it?
Just keep going.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it.
Oh man.
So because at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
the end of the Rambo
4.
It's just called Rambo.
Rambo.
The end of it, he's going to his dad's ranch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And
That's what I thought.
they're going into this whole. It's
I love
finally
that.
the battle back. He hasn't been back on American soil since First Blood.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love this.
Which
idea.
number was that?
1. First Blood was
that was
1.
1982.
It was 82. Yeah, First Blood was 82. And then, in the movie verse, because the book was very different, in the movie verse, he starts off in the States. He gets shipped off to this prison in number 2. They get him out to do this mission in Vietnam. And then in the third one, he's fighting in Afghanistan. And the fourth one, he's in Burma.
Wow, I thought I saw
three.
the first Rambo years ago, but I don't think I've seen
It's in
any.
the States.
I don't
Dude,
think I've
the
seen
last Rambo, he has the coolest. He just gets a gun and blows up an entire army.
Rambo's
Well, he just
got
gets-
a gun.
Well, because that's what I liked about. He runs like once or twice. He's not like doing. He just sits on the back of a Jeep and fires the gun.
Yep.
I just hope they don't do the fake blood this time because I hated the fake blood.
Did you?
The digital blood.
Yeah.
The digital blood. Look at
What
him
kind
as
of
a
blood
rancher.
do you like?
I like the practical blood.
Like
it's-
cornstarch and stuff.
Yeah, just like the CGI blood. It just looks. I can tell that it's
Do you
not
think
real.
he takes out a domestic terrorist cell?
I hope yes, 100%.
Right.
Probably like whether it's drug cartel or whatever it might be. Something he's going.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
This looks like a gorgeous poster.
I love
that you
it.
would put in your house.
Yeah.
It looks like a Stom Branson.
Does it?
Yeah.
But look at that because we never seen what John Rambo was like.
No.
We only knew what he was like as a soldier, and he came back and
He's got the chaps.
Vietnam vet who's been through it all, and
There's
look
going
at
to be there's going to be like an archery setup in a barn somewhere that he's still firing
Totally.
arrows.
I think he's going to wind up partnering up with somebody too, some young kind of person.
Statham?
No, I hope not. I don't because I don't. What I thought. What
Man, woman.
I don't know either, but it just depends. Like, so he in the last one, he was working with what was her name from Dexter? Rita. It was Rita. Whatever. Julie something. But so she was in it, and I think the movie should seem small. Like just like the other ones. Don't
agree.
go too big.
I agree.
Don't go too big. That's why the last Rambo, John Rambo, was so good.
And that's why I think the Die Hard franchise really went off the rails because they made John McClane like some international
Superhero.
Interpol agent.
He was
it's
jumping
crazy.
on planes and shit. I mean,
He's not
number 2. He jumps on a plane, but it's different. He's not hanging off a
He's
fighter
a New
jet.
York cop.
Yeah.
He's not Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. And I think that's
Julie Benz.
Julie Benz. That's what it is.
Way
Julie
to beat me to it.
I love it. So, what do you guys
Great.
think of the
I'm
picture,
fast.
Riley?
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really love it.
Everybody on board with this picture?
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah. When's
Yeah,
this come
it looks
out?
great.
When's this come out?
It's got to be like summer 2019.
Can it come
right?
out tomorrow?
Hold on. Let's
How'd
see.
you
Can you
know?
imagine if you got Creed 2 and then Rambo right after?
Right after.
Oh,
No,
So-
space him out.
So
I want him to.
on Monday,
Yeah.
I watched the Creed 2 trailer 5 times in a row.
So good.
It,
Okay.
It's nasty. Like,
Good-
so
good nasty.
good. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm
like
convinced,
90s nasty.
Yeah.
I'm super convinced that in the second half of the movie he's a ghost.
All right. Do we know? You know what it is? Here's the people keep asking me. They said like, why do I keep
Tonight
thinking?
we start filming.
Cool. Why do I keep thinking that Stallone's going to die? Because you see him with this stare off with Drago.
Right.
I think I don't know. I think Roca said it. Is that another one? Is that another? That's another picture.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the Western
got that
version
duster?
of Rambo.
They
I
originally in
love-
May it said 2019 release. I don't know if
I
that's
don't know.
true or
Okay.
not.
But anyway, so as far as Rocky goes, I agree with Roca. I think Roca said there's going to be 2 fights, very similar to Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Like Clubber Lang kicked the piss out of Rocky in the first fight, and then he had to come back and do it again. I think Drago and Creed are going to fight twice.
Me too.
I think Rocky's around for the first fight. I think he's done by the second one.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
I made my brother watch that trailer with me a bunch of times, and the line where Rocky says, "He knocked things in me that had never been fixed."
Yeah.
It's so good.
So good. Yeah, because it takes you back to nostalgia of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get to a couple more because then we have our special guest, Michael Ironside.
Yeah,
coming
well,
in
let's
a little
get
bit.
to
Twitter
Christopher
handle.
McQuarrie.
What's he got?
Yeah, he
Oh, this is the
basically
one.
said
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
he was on set with Henry Cavill for Fallout, and
Yep.
they did come up with an idea for Superman. And that they would say, this is my take for Superman. He says it was a great take he liked because Cavill went on record basically saying, I would like the hope and the optimism, the Superman we know, a la Donner's version,
Right.
to come back, which we saw at the end of Justice League. And they had a great idea, but nobody's called him. He did confirm, though, that he had some meetings on Green Lantern over at Warner Brothers.
Okay.
And that at first he was like, I could write this, I could direct this. They're like, why don't you write it? Because there was no script. It was like, do you want Green Lantern? He's like, where's the script? So they said, why don't you write it? And he's like, I might not be the right filmmaker for this. And then when it comes to Superman, he's like, they know my number. I don't expect anybody to call because he's mentioning everything that's going over at Warner Brothers right now. So they had an idea.
I just think it's what you have thought about, and I think it's just confirmed here. They have no interest in doing Man of Steel 2 right now.
I don't
Just so silly.
fucking know why. Sorry.
Yeah.
Where would you put it in their slate?
I'd put this thing in development now. I would start writing a script now. I would shoot
Get it out in 2
2020,
years.
2 years.
What about Superman 84? What about putting it in the same time zone as 1984's Wonder Woman?
Well, then you're retconning everything, and we can't. And
We'd
lose.
have an issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I'd love to see
I
it,
hear
man.
you.
I'd like to see a little bit more of traditional Superman. I think
we
McQuarrie
had
could
such
have
a
done
great.
that.
Jason Inman and I had such a great idea.
What was it?
It introduced Bizarro as the
Yeah.
villain to comment on the fact, and Bizarro being a ultimately a clone and a version that is Henry Cavill acting in 2 roles. And to comment on that, Bizarro comes in and wrecks shit again, and they're like, here we go again. You're commenting directly on the Man of Steel kind of divisiveness. And I go, what is this? And then it's Superman trying to, what is real, what is not, going after them. Then it's all tied to Lex Luthor somehow. It sets up Brainiac for the 3rd movie. There's so much you can
I'd
do
rather-
with Superman.
I'd rather see
and they
Brainiac
don't
now.
get it over there. They really don't. I look at this.
You get fired up when it comes to
I
Superman.
do. I like Superman,
Yeah, I
man.
know.
You know my
I
thing.
know. Listen.
I don't know if I want to see a Bizarro film right now.
just
I don't know
so
if I want to
much.
see 2 of Cavill. I don't know if I
What's
want to
wrong
see
with you,
1 of
Roxy?
Cavill.
It's because you don't like Man of Steel, and I get it. And
Can I ask
so
a
I
question?
understand.
Yeah, I love Superman.
Do you
though.
like?
Yes.
And be honest, as far as this is a different conversation. But as far as a film goes, as far as better made film, what do you think is a better made film? Venom or Doctor Strange?
Better made. But so not what I like more.
Not what you like, because you like Venom better.
I
obviously.
guess what a better made film is Doctor Strange.
You'd rather watch Venom 100 times.
100 times.
fair.
Because my problem with Doctor Strange isn't the filmmaking.
You don't like Doctor Strange.
I don't like him.
Yeah. Okay.
What's
So-
what's a better movie, Venom or Man of Steel?
Man of Steel?
Man of Steel.
What's better, Venom or Batman v Superman?
Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman extended cut.
Easy.
What's
I
better?
like Venom better
What's
than
better,
BVS.
Venom or Suicide Squad?
Venom.
I liked Venom. Man.
Okay.
I like Suicide Squad better.
What's better, Venom or Justice League?
I like Justice League better.
I liked
Justice
Venom.
League. Ah,
Okay.
no,
Predator.
I'd watch Venom again.
Venom or Predator? That came from Beardo.
Definitely Venom.
You know, I think here's the thing. They asked me this question earlier, so I think a better made movie is Predator. I'd watch Venom again.
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't watch Predator again.
Okay.
Predator's.
There's no
much-
reason to watch Predator twice.
It's better. It's still, and you know that my problems as far as the writing goes in that movie. It's better written than Venom.
Venom
Oh.
or
It is.
That's not true.
Dialogue?
They had some of the worst dialogue I've ever
It's bad, but it's not as
In Predator?
bad as-
And fucking fuck.
It's
and
bad.
fuck. I'm going to
It's-
fucking
It's
fuck.
bad. It's bad. They're both bad.
That's done.
Ask me Venom or Bad Boys 2.
Great movie.
no?
The
we-
soundtrack,
Boys 2.
Let's go.
Cobbster thinks Bad Boys 2 is a great movie.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
And
What up,
Predator.
girl?
He thinks Bad Boys 2 is a good movie.
Who your
Venom's
name
a great movie.
is?
He thinks
Okay.
Bad Boys 2.
Venom.
Where you from? Turn
Venom or
around.
the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton?
That's one of my
Incredible
favorite. That's one of my favorite Marvel
Oh,
movies.
okay, because I love that movie
I,
too.
I like that one a lot.
How about the
Maybe
Ang Lee Hulk?
Yes. I would.
Venom.
Venom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Hulk more.
The
Yeah.
Ang Lee's.
Like,
Just
I'm
the
on-
dog scene's the only one I can. The dog scene
dog
when he's
scene's-
swinging the tank around. That's
is-
all I watch. The rest of that movie is awful.
I liked the effort.
You would pain yourself and watch that over Venom again?
Yeah, I would. I liked the effort in that. in
Thor: The Dark World or Venom?
Definitely Venom.
Dark World.
Are you now smoking crack?
Yes, and I would like my crack because I would rather watch that movie.
Wow.
Go to Dark World.
Dark World.
Crack.
I would rather sit through. I'd rather sit through Predator again.
No, you wouldn't. You hate that movie that much.
Dark World.
Dark World.
Dark World.
Venom or Upgrade?
I haven't
the
seen
chat.
Upgrade.
Never seen.
Can you
Upgrade.
guys touch
Upgrade,
your
I
tongue to your nose?
loved. Yes.
What'd you say?
You can. Wow. Damn. I'm really
Tongue to the nose. That's a
Disgusting.
Venom thing.
You can do it.
Total
I don't
Venom
want
thing.
to do it.
But you could.
I don't know.
You've never tried.
No.
No way.
Why don't I touch? Why don't I lick my snots?
Parlor
You're
tricks on
43
Collider
years
Live.
of life. You've never taken your tongue out of your mouth and put it to the tip of your nose.
I was gonna say something. I can't do it. I'm going to break. I'm going to break.
Yep.
And when we get back, Michael Ironside, the great Michael Ironside, will be here to talk about Knuckleball, and you guys are going to have the privilege of listening to it live when we get back.
Hey guys, Reilly here, and let me tell you about Rule of Two. Rule of Two is a Star Wars podcast hosted by myself and Mark Fernandez. It drops on the Jedi Council podcast feed every Tuesday. You like Star Wars? Good. I like Star Wars. And you know what we do? We talk Star Wars. And not only talking Star Wars, we celebrate Star Wars. We gave the Golden Lightsabers the best in Star Wars, best picture, best opening theme, best crawl, and all that good stuff. We celebrate the games of Star Wars. We do everything in the Star Wars universe with a lot of debate and a lot of discussion thrown in the middle. So make sure you check out Rule of Two every Tuesday on the Collider Jedi Council podcast feed, on iTunes, and later on Collider Video Podcast Network. That's Rule of Two with Reilly and Mark Fernandez every Tuesday. And may the Force be with you.
Hey everyone, Mark Ellis here. You know, when I'm not trying to clone dinosaurs or drinking at my neighborhood watering hole, I am probably hosting Collider Movie Talk. It's a flagship show here at Collider. I like to say that because I'm the host of it. It's every day, almost. It's 4 days a week, which is still pretty good, above 50%. You can watch it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 4 p.m. Los Angeles time is when we do it. It's live, so you can participate in the live chat room. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on every story we have coming, because it's all the latest movie news of the day. Who did what at the box office? What horrible Redbox movies Bruce Willis signed on to? The DC, the Marvel, the Star Warses, the Lord of the Rings. Are they making new? I think it's a TV show, and we still might talk about it anyway, because we love movies around here. It's myself and an expert panel of guests, including John Roca, Perry Nemiroff, Jeff Snyder, and other noted noters of note. You guys are going to love this show, and then we take your live Twitter questions at the end of the show at Collider Video. You can always use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk to get in touch with us, so subscribe right here to Collider Video. Check out Movie Talk, and check out the Collider Movie Talk podcast feed. We have a podcast feed now. You don't have to look at this handsomeness. You can just listen to it, whether you're driving to work, whether you're driving from work, or you don't have a job, but you have a basement and ears. You can listen to Collider Movie Talk's feed. You can get it at Apple Podcasts or on iTunes. You also get Mailbag. That's the show that's hosted by Perry Nemiroff, a lot more professionally than I run this pirate ship. That's our weekend show where she takes your letters. I don't know if you write them or you email them. You have to ask her. And Afterthoughts, hosted by Ryan Snelling and Jay Williams. I almost said Ryan Williams and Jay Snelling. Would anybody have known the difference? I certainly would. I would have felt bad about it, because I'm a nice person, and that's why I host Collider Movie Talk. Check it out in video form or on our podcast feed.
Hi there. I see that you're enjoying Collider Live. After this show, why not check out Collider Games, where we play, well, games. We review games, we talk about things, anything that's going on in the gaming world, our opinions, news, all kinds of stuff. So check it out. If you like it, stick around and subscribe.
Hey everyone, John Roca here, one of the hosts for Collider Sports Time. That's our new show there on the Collider Sports Network. It's our flagship show, just like Collider Movie Talk. We get on, talk about a bunch of sports issues of the day and what is burning up social media, what topics are burning up social media. That's what we do on Collider Sports Time. I'm joined by my top 10 co-host, Matt Nost. Me and him, we welcome a bevy of guests every week to talk about NFL, the Major League Baseball playoffs, NHL, and the NBA, which is starting up soon. We're going to talk about that. We also get into UFC stuff, college football, all the stuff that's happening in the world of sports. We're going to cover it on Collider Sports Time. And we're going to take the time to break it all down and give our opinions and our unique takes and unfiltered thoughts on what we think about the sports news of the day. So don't forget to join us every week on Monday for the Collider Sports Time show on the Collider Sports Network. And don't forget to subscribe on the Collider Sports Network on YouTube and on the Collider Sports podcast feed. We're going to bring you all kinds of stuff. Hope to hear from you soon.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott Movie Manson. Just to let you know, if you already don't, every Friday here on Collider Video, I host a weekly film review series called Movie Review Talk. The title says it all. Every week I'm joined by two guest critics of my choice, and they're never the same. We review the new films. We pick something that's streaming that you might not know about, but is really great. And we pick a Blu-ray for something that you might have missed in theaters. It is fun. It is infectious. It is the Citizen Kane of movie review shows, and it's only right here on Collider with this guy, Scott Movie Mance, Mr. Movie Release Dates himself. Check it out every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, only on Collider Video.
Welcome back to Collider Live. It is Wednesday, and I didn't lie to you guys. I told you that we would be joined by the great Michael Ironside, and we are indeed. Hello, how are you, sir? Nice to see you.
I'm good.
You were telling me you don't like you're not a big headphones guy.
Well, I have a problem with my ears. I've done a lot of films with gunplay and stuff like
Right.
that, and my right ear is completely blown out. It's down to about 20%. Wow. And it's also the ear that I sleep on this side, so when my wife's talking, I have to lift my head off the pillow to talk. It's a long story.
Yeah.
And this one's about 20% damage.
Oh man! And do you remember? Is there any particular? I mean, like you said, you've done so many movies with
A lot
guns.
of there was one particular. We were doing a film. God, so many people passed, and we were shooting the sequence in a truck where the guy beside me was shooting a .44 Magnum out the window, and I'm shooting this. It was in a studio, and they called cut, And I'd just taken the ear padding out and stuff like that. He said, "Oh, I still got a shot," and he pulled the trigger right beside my head.
Oh, no.
And I literally, my ears bled, my ear bled,
my God.
and I lost my balance for about 3 days.
Wow.
So we had to do everything. We tried to shoot for 2 days where I was like holding on to things and stuff like this. Completely changed the
Sitting
performance.
down. Yeah. Do you remember which film it was? That's what I love about the
I've done about 340 films.
I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Madman.
What do you do when something like that happens? Do you get pissed off and you go talk to the director, or do you just kind of like
You're in
ride
shock
it out?
when something like that happens. I didn't react.
Yeah.
It's not the reactor. You're in pain. You basically are completely wiped out. I was done for the day. I remember they had to walk me somebody on either side of me back. We're shooting in Utah. God, I'll probably remember it later on in the interview and stuff. But
did you take him out back a couple days later and just?
no, I'm not one of those guys. Believe it or not, I'm a bit of a pacifist. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a big golf guy.
Oh
So, hey,
man, that's my
he's a
only
golf-
hobby. It's my only
It's
hobby.
the only hobby that he's got. So you are here today because we're going to talk about Knuckleball. So here's the synopsis, guys, to let you guys know. Alone and targeted on an isolated farm, 12-year-old Henry finds himself at the center of a maelstrom of terror and a dark family legacy where his secretive grandfather dies suddenly in the night. And you play Jacob.
I play his grandfather, yes.
You play his grandfather. So.
Let me take you back to the genesis of this story.
Please.
Michael Peterson, the director, a mutual friend sent me the script. I take unsolicited scripts. I get an average of about 5 of them a week, as long as they're copyrighted, because I don't, I've been around long enough. I like to try and help new talent or something like that. Mm-hmm. And usually the first 50 a month or first 50 you get, very rarely do you find something. It's like keep working, give you some ideas. And there's usually 1 out of 50 that you get to call back on. You call them and talk to them about. And this was one of the scripts. And Michael was at the AFM, Michael Peterson, and I'd read it a couple of times. So we met for breakfast, and we found out we had a very like attitude towards the subject matter. Yeah. And have you seen the film?
I have not seen the film yet.
The base idea of the film is the lack of communication from generation to generation. The way lack of communication in a family destroys it. And my big thing these days is that we're in a time period in human history where we've never had more opportunities to talk and communicate, and so little is fucking being said. Yep. Whether it's on. Pardon my language.
No, you're fine.
I just get so irritated by the fact that we have cell phones and Twitter
and Instagram and everything,
and computers and stuff, and very little of any substance is being said.
I feel like I'm looking at myself. I complain about this every day on this show.
And that's what the story's about. Yeah. That's the basis of the story. Is it starts off at and we basically. It takes place on a very barren landscape, and we shot it in Alberta in the middle of the winter. Oh, wow. And so we come from a very high point. We drop down into this car that's driving across a very barren landscape, with a young boy in the back on his cell phone playing a game, a father who's talking away and not listening, and a mother who's taking medication.
Right.
Because some member of her family has passed away, and it's how they're not all communicating. Even the kid says, "That's the turnoff. That's the turnoff." And they almost missed the turnoff to the grandfathers. And constantly, it's that repetitive idea of people all within a family unit not communicating and being a part of each other. And the horror of that is how and where do you feel safe? How and where do you feel comfortable? This is not Home Alone.
Right.
This is not. A couple of people said, it's Home Alone on acid. Fuck you.
They said it after they saw it, or they said it after hearing the pitch?
No, they've trying to be clever.
Right. Have you done acid? No.
One more time of false communication. It really is about the idea of being isolated within a supposedly loving family.
Right.
And it's 3 generations in this film. So, for example, when Kathleen, the woman who plays the daughter, she comes to the farmhouse where she was raised and stuff. When she first approaches me, I'm out near the barn and stuff. We made choices not to touch each other. Mm-hmm. She walks up, I look at her and look her up and down. She looks me up and down, and when we turn, I wait for the kid and the father to walk up. That kind of constant isolation and separation. The environment is isolatory. I don't even know if that's a fucking word.
It is today.
I understood what you were saying. Yeah, even if you made it up.
And it's about the attempts from the boy to survive in a situation where nothing is as it seems. Nothing. He's not been prepared for any of the truths that are going on.
So when you get like you said, when you get this script and you essentially really help get this thing made. And
I guess. Look, I try and do 1 or 2 jobs a year that affect my distribution. You know. So that I can go on and affect and help smaller projects, and then I bugger off and go all over the world doing these little films that and scripts that make sense to me.
Right.
And Michael Peterson, after I met him, I thought this guy he's a phenomenal guy. We're going to work together. We're working on another project right now from 2 Irish writers. We'll probably shoot next spring.
Right. And the movie, so like you said, with this movie, and when does it come out this weekend?
It's actually, I think it starts here in LA on Friday.
It comes out Friday.
Night. Yeah,
Great.
Friday night. We'll have a Q&A somewhere. I think it's on Sunset where it is. The director and myself are going to be there for it, and we'll take a Q&A afterwards.
Well, you can tell though too. I mean, I'm with my job, I'm lucky enough. I get to talk to a lot of people who are when they're promoting movies and stuff. Sometimes you can tell that they're promoting. You can tell when there's passion behind it. You can tell when there's people that there's, like you said, even when we were just talking about the synopsis and what it's really about, it means a lot to you. You can tell this movie it's like a message you want to get out.
I very rarely go. I got to tell you, I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
I very rarely go out and do press on films unless I really care about it. And I think this is a film that needs to be seen. It needs to be. It's what I call. It's not a pizza and a beer film. It's like you go out after the film, have a pizza and a beer, and you forget about it. This is the sort of film that after 2 or 3 days is still going to come up.
Stick with you, yeah.
It'll stay with. We went to about 3 or 4 film festivals with it, and the audience stayed afterwards. They just get up and walk.
Affected by it.
Well, they sat there and they all said the same thing. We get from guys that were 66 years old to young girls that are 14 saying, "This isn't what we expected."
Yeah.
And something in the film affected them.
Well, what they expect? Do you think they expected maybe like whether it's a horror film or generic or something, then they get hit with this like message, and they're sitting there going, "Wow,
it's not
that
so
really
much
is a message."
It's not so much a message. It's just a constant. It's a constant definition of being alone.
Yeah.
Alone, apart from different, afraid, separate. That feeling of being, again, like I said, isolatory within a relationship, and how that affects us all.
I just looked it up. Isolatory is not a word, but it could be.
Michael Ironside says it's a fucking word.
That's what I'm saying.
Now.
I'm not.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that too, because I brought this up a couple times here too. As you get older, I have been going through a lot in my life, and a lot of things, especially with my family, and things that I look at, and I can't. And when I told you what I feel like I'm looking at myself when it comes to the message of social media and how we're disconnected, and even with my daughter, who I have a 7-year-old, and when she picks up the iPad, I'm like, okay, good. It's good for everyone to kind of get a breather, but I also don't want her to be connected to that thing and be one of those people who's just like on the phone, can't connect, no phones at the dinner table. That's a must. And I'm guilty of it too. I got to make sure I connect to my family, connect to other people. So that's kind of what we're talking about here, yeah.
In a way, yes. Yeah. And the only cell phone in the film gets removed in the first 15 minutes because the battery goes dead.
Oh, okay.
So he's basically is isolated. He's on his own. And there's a lot of other things. It's about lies. It's about propagating lies.
Where's the term knuckleball come from?
The knuckleball is the one organic connection is between the grandfather and the young boy. Is the boy wants to be a pitcher, a baseball player, and
is he a Yankee fan?
I probably a Blue Jays, but
you're a Canada.
I'm Canadian. Yeah. I just happen to work here for the last 37 years.
Happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're in a world where I can't believe I'm old enough. I'm old. I'm fucking old. I thought we were heading towards a place where boundaries were going to start dropping. And in the last 15 years, there's more boundaries, more isolation again. And that's what we're talking about with the film. The idea that there's so little communication going on between groups of people and races and color and stuff.
Well, the movie is called Knuckleball. It comes out again in LA this week, and then you're gonna be able to find it on VOD. So make sure you check that out. I did want to ask you about a couple other things though too, because I've known you, been a fan of your work for a very long time, and I had a question in regards to Top Gun 2. I do. I want to ask you about Top Gun because do you think? Is that something that you think should be going down? Or you think that it's a movie that should have been left where it was? Or how do you feel about the fact that they're going to do a second one?
Look, when we did the original Top Gun, God, just about everyone's dead now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been that long.
It's a lot,
you know,
yeah.
the director committed suicide.
Yep.
Had medical
Tony Scott,
problems, and but the original script really was. I remember the. I'm gonna get emotional talking. Anyway, the story was only that thick, as thick as the script.
Yeah.
Everything was about the flying sequence and action and stuff. And Tom did a wonderful job of creating that idea of somebody who's rebellious to an institution, you know, and walk that line between. Because there really wasn't a lot of character development stuff in that story. It needed a follow-up story. And as far as I remember, the story was Tom signed off on not doing Top Gun 2, getting to do Thunderbolt, what is it?
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder,
Yeah.
yes. And
Cold Trickle.
Yep.
and it's time.
You
It
do-
is
you
time,
do it time.
especially with the and I don't know how much they're going to get into this. I'm not going to do anything to do with this film.
You wouldn't do-
No,
you-
Bruckheimer, Jerry, Bruckheimer, the producer and stuff like that. We had a bit of a falling out a couple of years ago over something.
Can you say what it is? You don't want to
I
say
mean, he
about it.
wanted me to do it. He wanted me to do a show, and I didn't want to do it because the writing wasn't that well done.
Okay.
And he said, "Yeah, but this and that." I said, "No, I don't want to do
Was
it."
it a show that actually ended up airing?
It ended up getting produced, and it lasted about 4 shows, 5 shows, and stuff. And it's not like, "Hey, I was right." It's just that
But you knew you followed your instincts.
no, I'm
You
in
just-
my 60s, for
Yeah.
Christ's sakes. I mean, I've only got so much time left. I don't want to spend my time sitting around doing something and supporting something that's not going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And he took that very personally, or
I think he took it personally, yes, because they said no to him. His everyone, we all had our call signs. His was the bookkeeper.
Yeah.
On Top Gun, they referred to him as the bookkeeper, and but I remember we were at a hockey game. I don't know if I should be fucking talking about it.
Do
Hey
it.
Jerry, if you're watching this. We were at a hockey game. He's a Kings fan, and the Leafs were in town. I was down watching the game, and I walked up and said, "Hey, Jerry," and he looked right at me and went, "Huh," and turned his back.
It was after this whole thing went down.
Yeah,
Oh,
and this is
wow.
about a month later,
Oh,
and I said, "Yay! I hope the Kings do well tonight."
Yeah,
You know,
That's
at least
classy,
kick their
though.
ass.
was that the
And-
last
and you're Leafs right
interaction?
now.
That's
and
all?
that was it.
There's no coming back from me. No thing for.
I heard via the grapevine that there was no way I was going to be any part of.
Well, that
Hockey Talk
sucks.
Gun 2.
Does it
But
bother
that-
you,
No,
or-
it doesn't bother me because I did as much as I could with that
Yeah.
character originally. I'm glad Tom's getting a shot at it because he'll bring and. Fuck all the talk about Tom Cruise. I don't have anything bad to say about the guy. What a guy does in his personal life, that's fine.
He's a pleasure to work with on set.
He's a professional.
That's what I
He's
heard,
a
yeah.
good guy. He shows up. He stayed in character most of the time. We had a couple of great moments together and stuff like this off camera and stuff. And that character now hopefully is going to address what we were talking about is the separation of humanity from weaponry and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know, like the same as a cell phone keeps us separate from talking and communicating. Now you can push a button and kill people from 2,000 miles away. You don't even have to be physically witnessing or be a part of it.
Right.
You don't have to take physical
Well,
responsibility.
that's interesting how they're gonna
Dealing with drones and stuff.
Yeah. It was 85 was when that movie came out, and now we're 2019 or 20 when it comes out. So that's pretty interesting that they're going to be using that technology. The other movie, very similar. Sorry.
Were you upset that you weren't included in the shirtless jean short beach volleyball scene, or was that something that?
Really giving it thought. Really giving it thought.
No, he's good.
I'm trying to politely answer things.
You can yell at me.
Yeah.
You can bite my head off.
For Christ's sakes, that was 200 films ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like,
When,
we yell at him all the time. So, but the other
When-
thing,
oh,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to ask one other thing here because as we talked about, like I said, Top Gun now, like you said, it's time for a sequel. Something else, another movie franchise that you were part of that has now had a resurgence is the Karate Kid. Now I had the creators of the of Cobra Kai in here. We talked a bit, and that whole universe to them is canon. And they want to do stuff now. Is that because you worked on Next Karate Kid?
yes, next part.
With Hilary Swank.
Yeah, we introduced Hilary Swank to the world.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so they had talked about that whole. They talked about. I asked them about if Hilary Swank's character knew of Daniel, and they would said yes, absolutely. And I believe they're going to reach out to her. Is that something that you'd ever want to do? Is come back to that?
No,
that
not
world?
really. I
No?
think I got as much as I could out of that character.
Yeah.
Look, I like I said, I'm basically a pacifist. I'm. If you kill one old lady with an axe or a shovel early in your career and they make money off it, they're not going to let you do much of anything else.
Yeah.
This is a very.
You played villains for the most of your
I've played
career.
a lot of
Yeah.
villains, yes. And I'm really well trained. I started off as a writer-director. I took acting to help my writing and directing and stuff, and ended up in front of the camera, which I don't regret. But I want to experience things. I don't want to go back over something over and over and over again. And financially, I'm fine. I could use more money. I could use less money. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you just
but
want to do
when you get into your 60s, and you guys are all fairly young and stuff like that, you start making choices. You're aware of how long you've got. I remember talking to John Huston, and I said, I was actually used to play a lot of poker, and early in the 70s, I was in Toronto. Somebody said, "Can you put together $5,000 because there's a game at the Windsor Arms?" And I said, "Shit!" So I borrowed money. And I walked in, and when I walked in, there was this guy with an oxygen tank with his back to the door, and I went over to the bar, and I turned around and looked, and there's John Huston sitting in this room. Wow. And I went, fuck. So we sat down and played cards. I'm sitting down, and about 45 minutes later, I stuck him in a five-stud hand with 2 pair, and I had jacks over 8s, and he had 10s over something, and I was like, "Ooh, I got John Huston."
Can you imagine playing in that game?
And we got up and I went to the bar. I was still drinking in those days, and we went up to the bar, and he came up and he said, "That was very good. I didn't see that coming." And I said, "Yeah. Can I ask you a question?" And he said, because I've been dying all night to talk to John Huston. Right. I said, "You made art. You made incredible films all the way up to Moby Dick. Mm-hmm. You made these incredible. You had a standard of excellence, and then you made a lot of crap for a few years, and then I froze because I realized I just told John Huston he made a lot of crap.
Been there.
Were those the actual words too?
Oh yeah, I said you made a lot of crap, and I went, "Oh fuck,"
shit,
right?
Because I'm just an enthusiastic fucking fan, right? Yeah. And he went, "You're absolutely right. I made crap." And he said, Moby Dick financially, emotionally, and spiritually bankrupted me.
Really?
He told me a story. He said that at one point they had 2 whales that were using, and one of them had sunk during this because they were on this ship that was pulling the stuff, and he was afraid of that. He had all his money in it, and he had mortgaged his property in Ireland to finance the film. If the second whale went down in the storm, the film was going to close. So he actually, when nobody was looking, got in a rowboat, went out and sat in the mouth of the whale and rode the storm out for 4.5 hours so they wouldn't cut the fucking whale loose.
Wow.
Now that's commitment.
Yeah.
Holy
or
geez.
fear, one or the other.
Yeah.
And so I was asking him, he said, "You're absolutely right." And he says, "But I'm getting to that point in my life." And there's a reason for this story. Mm-hmm. He said, "I'm getting to that point in my life," he says, "where I've only got so many shots left and nobody wants to go out on a bad note. So I'm trying to choose what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it." So, and I went, "Wow, that's kind of cool."
And that advice just stuck with you.
And and he said, "And if you stick me with a pair of jacks, I'll gut you."
Well, it's funny. This whole last week has been this thing for me too, because I had Richard Dreyfuss in last week, and we were talking about, and he was saying a lot of the same things. He's 7 years old now, and yes, sir.
Drinking and listening at the same time.
That's okay.
Challenging.
Yeah.
Challenging.
But I had him. I had him in, and he was talking. It was reflection. He's 7 years old now, and a lot of the same things that you're saying. It's just like
nobody wants to go out on a bad note.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to be Jordan and take that shot and walk off, and even he couldn't do that. He had to come back and do it. But so you're being, like you said, with Bruckheimer and everything else. So you're looking at the roles. Knuckleball is one of those movies you said this is. Now you mentioned something about that I found interesting there when you said you starting out as like a director, and do you, when you're on set, because of your experience in as an actor, but because you're a respected guy, did you give any advice as far as directing when you're on set of Knuckleball?
Not advice. It becomes a
collaboration.
It's a collective. It's a collective environment most of the time. There's very few directors. Like I said, I've done over 300-something films. I've only worked with really 5, I'd say maybe 5 directors that they're God. They're in charge. It's their vision. You go to them.
Who are those 5?
I'm not going to say.
You're not going to say? Okay.
Like a Paul Verhoeven, for example.
Which I definitely want to talk about before you leave.
Paul knows exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
You know, he knows exactly what he wants. I've done a couple of films with Paul, and you're there to service his vision. But most of the time, it's a collective art form. It's a tribal art form.
Yeah.
You know, when I have directed a couple of times, I've gotten to corners where we've got 2.5 hours left. I've got to do 6 setups in my setup, in my schedule. We've only got time for 3. Mm-hmm. And I'll turn to the crew and I'll say, hey, anyone got any ideas? You know, and you'll have a grip step forward and say, you know, I've been dragging this track all over. Can't we shoot everything on one side? If you have everything come this way, turn and go back that. And I go, fuck, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And that seems to be a strength. Now, on Knuckleball, the same thing. We had that. We had a certain amount of time to do it. Very small cast, one location. Michael Peterson is not some egomaniac.
Right. So you throw suggestions, he's going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and John Thomas is DOP. He's got to get a shout out on this film. Sure. Between him and Mike, the visuals on this film represent what the subject matter is that isolation, that separation, that constant lack of warmth when it's so needed. You know.
You have this unbelievable voice and the way you deliver things. Have you ever thought about doing like a Ironside chat? And that's like your ability to tell your stories. I mean, you've done over 300 films. There are actors, actresses that would kill for your resume, for your career. Have you ever thought about, you know, putting your stories either on tape or on?
My wife and I were actually joking the other day. We're quite eccentric. We've been together 34 years this week.
Congratulations.
31 years, 32 years married, and somebody was laughing because they were listening to us talking. They said, "You should do this online. Just, you know, call yourself something else and just have a subject matter," because she is diametrically, completely opposite to me. She was raised in Virginia, comes from a certain amount of money. I'm raised in the East End of Toronto, come from a working class family that was very well read. Yeah. And she comes from a family that lived in the countryside, had a lot of money, and is not very well read. And we have completely different points of view about things.
How'd you guys meet?
We met through a mutual friend. And I saw her. She was actually working at AFCO Embassy when we started dating. And I asked her out. And
34 years?
Yeah, 34 years ago this week.
Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. We were talking about that. It was funny because on the show yesterday, we were saying how Roxy brought up that Gen X is responsible for the divorce rate going down. Like, I have been married almost 10 years now. I'm Gen X.
I just celebrated my first anniversary on Sunday.
So we're
congratulations.
I'm screwed.
I'm millennial over here. But anyway, I wanted to ask you about Paul Verhoeven because you brought him up. Mm-hmm. You did a few films with him. Do you have a favorite that you worked on with him that you had the best experience with? That you learned a lot as far as yourself?
Both films. He uses the same people. Paul uses he bounces between 2 different DOPs. Yeah. He has a tendency to use the same people over again. It's interesting. You do exactly what he tells you. And we were on Starship Troopers, and we were shooting down at Sony. We were actually up in the Dakotas for about 4.5 months shooting all the exterior stuff. And we overran our sets, which means you're moving so quickly and getting stuff done so quick that all 4 sets weren't up, all 4 sides of the set. And it's the scene where you reintroduce the character. He comes in, you see that hand, and everyone's
it's awesome.
Ratchek's, whatever. But and Paul and Jos Ficano, who's the DP, were sitting there discussing stuff, and I'd gotten so comfortable at that point, I think. I said, can I suggest something? And I didn't notice everyone went quiet.
Right.
You know, and Paul and I had gotten a little closer at that point, but you still don't suggest things to Paul. That's him and Yost. And Yost jumped in and said, what is it, Michael? And I said, because we don't have the third wall here, rather than wait and be behind, how about if I just sort of step in and we raise the question of what is this mechanical hand? So the person steps in, you see the mechanical hand, you dolly with the hand or go handheld with it to the end, and I go past everyone, and everyone goes to attention. And when I turn around, it's a reveal because we've raised enough of a mystery and a question of who this character is. And when I turn around, it's like, it's the teacher with the only one arm.
Yeah.
And I saw Paul, and they went, okay, well, yeah, we'll do that. I said, great. And we set it up to do that because that way you don't have to use the third wall on the set. And we were walking away from the set that night, and we were heading towards a car, and Paul stopped and he said, I took a direction from you today. And I literally froze and went, oh, fuck. The little boy inside me was like, Daddy's going to yell at me.
Yeah.
And he went, we've come a long way, haven't we?
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool.
Was your first one Total Recall? Is that the...
Total Recall was the first one.
I love Total Recall.
I turned down RoboCop.
You did? Was it for
Well,
Clarence?
we both went up for the part of the RoboCop.
Oh.
And when we went in, the two... Well, it's not a matter of I lost it. It was just between the two of us. And the special effects guy said, if we put a suit on Ironside, it's going to look like a tank. Because at that time, I was like about 70 pounds lighter, 80 pounds lighter than I am now.
Okay.
But I'm very large. I'm very broad in the shoulders. I take a 46 jacket.
So you went in for Murphy. Oh, yeah, wow.
And Paul asked me if I would think about playing the head killer and stuff like that. And I was in the middle of shooting Extreme Prejudice at that time. And literally that week, if you've seen the film Extreme Prejudice, my death scene was in the fountain. And it took 3 days to shoot. And you don't get to see the whole scene because these censor board cut so much. They had blood torpedoes on my back that when I go, the blood shoots up over the Madonna behind me and stuff. It was just
brutal.
And they wanted me to play this killer, and I'm in the middle of this other film, and I went, I'm going to pass. Thank you so much. And then
and Kurtwood Smith wins up. Yeah,
Kurtwood did it. And about 2 weeks later, I realized, holy shit, I turned down working with Paul Verhoeven because the film was over, Extreme Prejudice was over, and I wrote him a letter. I wrote him a letter saying, look, I apologize that I was in the middle of another film and didn't have the freedom to think and talk and make choices and stuff. And please don't take this as a comment on you or something, and I hope we get to work together again. And when Total Recall came around, it was same people that were behind RoboCop, some of the financing and the writers, and I don't think they wanted me to be a part of that. Paul called and said, why don't we have an audition together? Why doesn't Michael come in and we'll work together? And he got a video camera, put it on his shoulder, and we did an improvisational and some script stuff and everything in this office over in Burbank here. And it went on for about 10, 15 minutes, and he had the camera on his shoulder, and when we were down near the end, he was saying, do this, do that, try this, do that. And he left the camera, and he turned, he said, I don't see what everyone's problem is with this actor. This actor is wonderful. I want to work with him. Do you want to do this film? I said, yeah, I'd love to work with you. He says, okay, let's just do that.
Yeah.
He left the camera running, and he sent me the videotape.
What was the problem?
That audition. He was making a statement to all the other people, I think, politically, that weren't comfortable with the idea of me doing the film after turning them down.
And it was perfect.
There was a sense of arrogance. They thought there was political arrogance and stuff.
And there wasn't a opportunity when you turned him down to meet him at a hockey game and him turn your back. And good.
But that movie though still, I mean, because look, you have it pretty much at that time. An unknown Sharon Stone is in the movie.
Sharon,
Sharon Stone, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger is the biggest movie star on the planet, and like that experience. I mean, if that's your first Paul Verhoeven movie, I mean, now actually working with
Paul. I mean, that was Paul's big introduction to North America.
Yes,
stuff like that. He'd been, Paul's a phenomenal filmmaker.
I'm telling you, you don't have to tell me. Like RoboCop, that movie, Starship Troopers, those movies, and then watching you in the two of them. But Total Recall, you always stuck with me in that movie because I think that movie, it could have come off, and again, it could have come off very campy, and it didn't. It comes off as terrifying in parts. It's a great science fiction movie.
Cool story with Paul.
Please.
We were on the set of Total Recall. We shot it all in Mexico City at the old Churubusco Studios, where I think the last film that was shot there that was American was Tyrone Power's Blood in the Sand. And fucking history, amazing history to walk into. And I brought my daughter. She's now in her 40s, but she was just about 14 or 15 at the time, and that's how long ago this was. Jesus Christ. What the fuck are you laughing?
Pull that clip, because I'm telling you, for now, anytime Macuga shouts his bell on Michael Ironside, say, "What the fuck are you laughing at?"
I actually had hair. I was looking at it. We were moving after 30 some odd years, and we were going through some of the old photographs, and I found some stuff under my bladder, and I thought, God, I still had hair in those days. But my daughter was with us. Adrian was with us, and she was on set, and she'd been on set since she was 5 with me. She's my oldest. And we do the arrival on the planet scene where we come through the immigration, and Arnold's in the big fat lady suit, and the camera shot is one long shot. It's a handheld that leads all the way up to the. And then I stop and I turn to the camera and close up and go, Quaid. And we had done it about 3 or 4 times, and I knew we had the shot. We had it finally. And Paul had this blue sweater on. And Paul, if you get to hear this, I apologize, but it's kind of cute because it's a statement on how he works. He said, I want everyone to come, with his German accent, or his Belgian accent, I want everyone to come, or Dutch. I want everyone to come, I need to talk. And it was like a cast of, at that time, about 17 on set. Extras of about 200, a crew of over 150, and we pulled on. He says, this film, he says, that was a difficult shot. He says, we have a difficult shot. We had some problems doing this. Some people weren't listening, some permanently. He says, I've hired you very specifically for your jobs. If you can't do your job, step forward now. We will pay you off. You can go home and I'll replace you because this is going to get more difficult, a lot fucking more difficult. And he built himself up into this rage. Right. Where he's talking about, we are going to have problems. We have to pull together. You have to be ready to do this. And as he took a breath, I heard somebody go, oh no! And I thought, and I'm trying to get close to a pole or something. And I don't want him to see me. And I think, who the fuck is stupid enough? And I look over, and it's my daughter.
No.
Sitting in his chair against the wall.
Oh no!
And I went, oh fuck! And he turned and he looked at her, and it's a good 20, 30 yards to his chair, and he says, you think this is funny? You think this is a joke? And he started walking towards her, and I went, here goes my career. And I started walking after him, because if he got anywhere near my daughter and threatened her, I was going to fucking take him out. And he got right all the way up to her, and he says, you think this is for fun? You find this entertainment? She says, you got your shot, didn't you?
Yes!
And he stopped right in front of her, and he went, yeah, I got my shot. And he turned around, and I'm right behind him. He turned around, and he was like, oh. And he said, you've all heard what I have to say. And I realized it had all been an act. Everything he had done was this tirade, this performance to get everyone intimidated, or and to bring out either their weaknesses or their strengths. And he said, you've all heard, he said, you've been warned going forward. And he looked at me and he went, and he turned to my daughter, he says, have you read the script? And she says, no. He says, get out of my goddamn chair now. Don't be on my set until you've read the script. So out she goes, and he turned to me and he said, are you ready to work? And I went, yeah. And I realized it had just been a big problem. So the next morning I get up, we're staying at the hotel in Mexico City where we were shooting. I go into the bedroom, my daughter's not there. It's like 6:30 in the morning, my call time's at 7:30. I shower, and I think, well, maybe she's down there. I go down, and I talked to the coordinator in the hotel lobby, and they go, oh no, she went out to set. And I went, what? So I get out the set, and her and Paul are sitting, and awesome. He's got a chair beside her. She had read the script, and she's grilling him about the story.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he wrote her a letter saying, if you ever need an endorsement to do anything in our industry, I will gladly write it for you.
That's amazing. That's like Hayden Panettiere in Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's cool.
Well,
that's amazing.
Thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for sharing your stories in general. And guys, again, Knuckleball. It is out in LA. It's going to be on VOD. Make sure you check that out. And the fans of this show would be so mad. And if you get mad at me for doing it, I apologize, but I have to do it as we sign out. See you at the party, Richter. Had to do it once. I know that they were going to be requesting it, but it was a pleasure to have you on, sir. Thank you
that
so
was
much.
Quick, didn't it? Seemed
It
to
was
go
it.
very fast.
Yeah, that was it. I got to talk to you for about 3 hours, to be completely honest with you. Guys, Collider Live, Michael Ironside, Josh Macuga, Roxy Striar. We'll be back on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Make sure you check out Knuckleball and Movie Talk today at 5 p.m. Check out Jedi Council. Check out everything, and make sure you check out the Schmodown. We're out of here. Peace out, guys.